Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. Finally, the Counter-Strike's here. It's actually happening. It's actually worth talking about again. Sure, there were some little online cups, some little things. Technically, events were being played prior to the last 7 days, but they weren't a big deal. Hell, even the mainstay Tier 2 events have started up again, with some interesting events in Brazil, a lot in Europe in terms of young prospects up and coming, another Roman Imperium Cup, which we're not going to touch on, but I thought we might as well just give a shout out to here because, well, while we're at it, we might as well bring it up. Great debut for the big team. Big win for them. But yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about Blast Bounty, the last dregs of Rostermania. I believe there's a few smaller changes listed down here that are relatively late in the show. But all in all, it's going to be back to our usual programming. We're back to talking about some Tier 1 CS, which, yeah, it's not our favorite thing. We're known for being the youth guys. We're known for being the Tier 2, Tier 3 guys. We're known in some cases for being the insanely biased towards Sweden guy. But before we get into all of that, before we even talk to whoever that might be, we've got to thank the members. The members make the show possible. The members make this show available on all audio platforms, Spotify and Apple Music primarily. If you're an audio-only listener and you've rated the show 5 stars, thank you. I finally checked after months. I'm talking months. I remember I checked how many reviews we had 2 weeks into doing this kind of thing. It was 3, and I was one of them, and my sister was another. And now we have over 25 5-star reviews on the. Well, it's not just this show anymore. It's all my audio, all my long form content goes on there, audio only. But it's 99% this show. So thank you all for the 5-star reviews. Thank you all for showing up and showing your appreciation. It's been great. But yeah, we also got to shout out the core contributor XL. Thank you very much for your contributions. There will be this month for members only a contributors podcast where the contributors, currently there's only one, actually get to run a show. They get to pick the topics, they get to quiz me, they even get to have their say on the recording. Not that they always choose to, they sometimes just rather send a little question in and leave it at that. But yeah, members get access to the King's Court interviews. We've got one that just went up with Frog CS. There's another one coming soon with Ashy of Ulti, and there should be one recorded tonight if everything goes correctly. So we've got a flurry of content coming there. The BTS segments, and of course all VODs for all live streams, including that pretty big live stream I did instead of being at the HLTV Awards. That got huge viewership, then immediately went behind a paywall. You're welcome. So yeah, Quack, anything to promo?
Nothing special this week, no. It's been, another week of Counter-Strike, another week of doing what we usually do. Do we have any non-5-star reviews on Spotify? I'm just curious.
Not as far as I'm aware.
Yeah!
It's a pure 5-star.
Let's go! The highest rated Counter-Strike podcast of all time.
Yeah, untouched. And now someone's going to go rate it.
5.0.
Someone's going to go give it a 4-star just to piss you off, but yeah.
No, but that's nice. No, nothing special. It's been another week of Counter-Strike. We are back. Been a big week for my little Counter-Strike scene, but my little nook of Counter-Strike, but it's we'll get onto that. Other than that, no, not much. It's another week.
Another week, another dime, another dollar, another white shirt, another stuffed collar. Let's talk CS. Of course, Blast Bounty, the online portion, has taken place with some significant results. I don't know who would care about these. They're significant to someone, you know what I mean? Like a cute little team gets an online win. Somebody somewhere cares. Let's talk about it. Blast Bounty Online. Of course, the big stories are always going to be the upsets. We're going to start there. The day 1 upsets. Day 2, I didn't really count an upset. I didn't really see an upset result on day 2. There was some teams that are lower ranked, kind of close together, where you could have said it's like 50-50, but realistically, the team I thought was better basically just won every time. But day 1,
there
we had
is
some
one
huge upsets.
I think you're forgetting it in round 2 about one. But yeah, in day 1 we did have the big ones. And that's one of the fun things about the format. Is that
yes,
the upsets
I did
actually
forget one. Yes, you're right.
Yes. But that's one of the fun things about this format is that the upsets actually matter quite a lot. Since the single elimination, it's literally just 2 games and then you're on to LAN. We'll get into what I think is the flip side of that, which is the boring part about this format. But it's we have some big upsets in a lot of these games. And I honestly, there's a couple of games there that I found, a couple in particular that I found very interesting ahead of time, which ended up being quite interesting results-wise. But should we address the blue and yellow elephant in the room, maybe?
I think we should. Blue and yellow specifically is not a color combination I'm thinking of. But oh yes, of course, with the flags. I was thinking jerseys. I was like, they're certainly not blue and yellow. But the first big one, the really big result was Eyeballers upsetting FaZe Clan in what can only be described as a waking nightmare for most. As you know, this is the first day of CS of the year in terms of big events, big teams. FaZe Clan back after a major grand final, and they play against Eyeballers. First map, take care of business. There's nothing to really write home about. Frozen drops a ridiculous rating. One of the best rifles in the world expected. Jacob plays pretty damn well. And yeah, sure, it's not the greatest Twist performance. Brokey is predictably disappointing, but it's just a fine game. FaZe take care of business. Mirage, you know, FaZe's pick. All of a sudden, things get shaky. Immediately. They go 10-2 down on the T half. Show very little fight, very little gusto. Eyeballers are proactive. They're really comfortable, coordinated, great, like, chemistry between the players. Like, a lot of the timing, I thought, in the util and the setups and the things they were trying just looked really polished. Like, they clearly did not take a second off at Christmas. Maybe just unwrapped a present, then, all right, fuck off. Back to training, because we've got a big game to win. Whoever it is, we want to be able to upset them. But yeah, Mirage, huge from Bob. A surprise Dex, like pop-off, I guess, if you could call it that. But that takes us to Inferno, where, again, one team looks mega prepped, one team looked sloppy. And, surprise, surprise, to most people, Quack obviously was pounding this drum from second one when this matchup got announced. Eyeballers win Inferno 13-10, or 13-7 rather. Sorry, I thought it was way closer than that. And take home the series 2-1. Out the gates, we start with the biggest upset close to. I mean, you can argue it's not just because of a number of people predicted it. A number of people were on the FaZe Clan are going to be sloppy sort of train. But I think in terms of the ranking disparity, in terms of the caliber of names, in terms of the fact that, you know, Eyeballs haven't really beaten a whole lot of top 10 teams. Hell, they haven't even played a lot of top 15 teams, let alone beaten top 10 teams in the last year. This was a monumental upset, wasn't it?
And we're also talking about a major finalist who both were themselves talking about, but also were sort of expected to, into 2026, start building some consistency off the back of that, like off of the Budapest major final.
Yeah, immediately. Like, you guys got the major final, you got the proof of concept on the roster, you know that Jacob's good. Next year, just... Oh, fuck, you hit a brick wall.
Yeah, so, it's a big upset. It was an interesting series because it's hard. When I was obviously watching the Swedish stream. The Swedish stream is obviously a bit partial. The analysis is perhaps angled more towards Eyeballers are playing great more than FaZe are playing poorly. So I want to ask you, as more of an impartial viewer, do you think FaZe, is this one of those games where FaZe lost to themselves? Because when I was watching, I genuinely felt like, no, here JW gets a genuinely impressive opening. Here, Bob XD finds a double out of skill. And sure, like, I saw FaZe make some high risk sort of plays. Like on Inferno, for example, I would see Kerrigan just, as he normally does, just throw himself into banana, and he would get caught off. Like, he would get caught in it. And then, but you know, that's what they usually do, and usually they can convert it. But in this case, I did feel like Eyeballers were taking their chances and capitalizing on them, more so than I felt that it was like a huge, like it was FaZe that were losing to themselves in that way. It didn't really feel that way to me. So you, as more of an impartial viewer, did you feel like this was a result irrelevant to the result? Actually watching the gameplay, was this a travesty from FaZe, or were Eyeballers playing well?
It's one of those where you have to kind of be boring and be like, it's a bit of both, because I can't I can't deny that I saw some really good CS, especially team CS wise, out of the Eyeballers group. Like Bob XD, I watched Inferno from his POV start to finish. Like that was my, like, okay, I need to figure this out sort of moment. And I watched his POV, and like 90% of his kills were not mechanically brilliant. There's that one double kill that he gets at top banana that's fucking insane. Just like first bullet headshot, like fifth bullet in the spray hits a second headshot before being finally traded at top banana. But generally, most of his kills are like, you know, like a 6-bullet body shot spray. But the timing's good, the flashbangs are good. Like the coordination of everything they're doing was really like on point. So I had to give them a lot of credit. And he himself never panicked. Like there'd be a full rush coming his way, util dropping left, right, and center. His molly, there's fire at his feet. He's dropping a smoke very calmly, sitting stoic, waits. Bullets spammed around him, bang, flash, pops. He swings out. There we go. It's very clear that this team is well rehearsed, well drilled, and really up for this game. At the same time, I did see, some moments where I thought FaZe Clan was just like, it's a bitch like next man up. Like, I can try and make this happen. I'm gonna try and do this. Like, just some sloppy details. Some of the util just a bit, timing's not quite the same, not quite snappy, not quite as on point as you'd expect for a tier 1 side. Generally, these are issues you just associate with FaZe Clan, and I guess on an online game, there's no bullshit to really lean on. Like Bob XD, he's feeling no pressure. I mean, JW, this is a cakewalk. Obviously, the big story for me coming out of it was just the best AWPer on the server is 31, Swedish, and hasn't played a big event in like 4 years. Like Brokey, okay, just to summarize, Brokey at Blast Bounty, sure, he only played 1 series, but still, he's 3 maps compared to Youngstar's 4 maps. Youngstar was a better AWPer. This is the state we've reached with FaZe and with Brokey. You could pick a regular role player from a random team that's not even fully tier 1, like tier 1.5, and he probably will have a better performance on the AWP than Brokey does. Like, there is no justification for not taking that stupid risk of like, you know what? Let's go get Jabo. Let's go get Jabo. Let's just pick a random academy or get MHL. There's no reason to not make this risk anymore. Brokey is a crime against humanity.
Yeah, and it's the same old story in a way. It's why FaZe didn't pick up somebody like Fuzi, why they didn't pick up somebody like didn't take a chance on somebody. Even like I think we said last week, why didn't they take up somebody like Dexter, which is like a side grade at worst, is what I feel like at this point. So it's interesting. But I do want to highlight one thing. I was not at all surprised by Dex's Mirage performance, because my read going into this game is no matter who Eyeballers plays, they're going to look at Maxter, because that's a name they've seen at LANs, that's a name they recognize, it's an NIP name. They're going to look at Bob XD, because he's been the talk of the town over the fall season. He's like, you see him in the stats sheets, you notice him.
Yeah.
Dex is, in my opinion, as cracked as those two guys. He is as good in terms of being snappy, in terms of being clever, in terms of playing his roles well, but he's a bit inconsistent. He's a guy who he will have one pop-off map, and another map he just can't really do anything, unfortunately. And for me, it was a guarantee. One of the maps they play in Blast Bounty, Dex is going to have a big pop-off, and it's going to be one of those moments where whichever side they're playing, whether it was FaZe, whether it was going to be Spirit, Falcons, Vitality, they were going to think, holy fuck, we didn't expect this from this guy. Your stomach sinks. We're going to lose this map. That was what I felt was going to happen. And in the end, that's kind of what did happen. Like that's like, I think genuinely that one 4K, Dex had a lot of multi-kills in Mirage, but that one 4K he had on the CT side from jungle, where it's just a lost round. FaZe are taking the A side. He has this very quick 4K, just downs 4 players on the A defense. After that, what do you do if you're FaZe? You're already losing big time in the first half, and you think you've finally managed to score a round. That's when Dex comes out and holds down the site alone with 4. If you're Twists in that situation, that's when you're already down whatever it was. Like at that point, they might have been 1-7 or something like that. I can't remember what the scoreline was exactly. If you're Twists or Jacob, especially Jacob, I think at that point you're kind of like, no, we have to win Inferno. Is like what I think your opinion is there.
You just give up on that. At that point, it's done. It's done. Now we're moving on to Inferno mentally.
I think mentally that's just gonna kill you, because you can expect it from Max, you can expect it from Bob XC. They might even, like, as pro players, they might even have a lot of respect for JW. Like, we have to respect them. But the guy you weren't expecting to do this is Dex, and that was one of the strengths that I felt in Eyeballers. It's like, you don't expect this guy to pop off in that way, but he will. So don't underestimate them. And if we're moving on, like, while we're on the topic of Eyeballers, there's not a lot we can take away from the Vitality game, except for the fact that they played 2 genuinely strong maps against Vitality. And it wasn't just, that's what also something which reinforces that, like, it wasn't just a FaZe choke. It's because they showed a good level against Vitality as well. I know we're skipping into round 2, but I don't have anything, since they lost, I don't really have anything else to say other than that they played a great game. I think that Anubis was great. It's a shame they couldn't close some of those map points. There's a couple of key mistakes where like there's one key round. I don't know if you saw. Rolf was at 50. Eyeballers at 15-14. I think it was a 3-on-2 situation for Eyeballers. Less than 10 seconds on the clock. They're planting on B side. Rolf runs forward, and he kills. Like Flamesy is locked in a duel with JW, in A main or yeah, I don't know which. No, B main. Sorry, it's Anubis. And Rolf runs out and goes for the planter instead of Flamesy, who's occupied looking the other way in the open. And he goes for the planter because he wants to win on time. And Flamesy manages to kill JW and very quickly, like in that sort of snap of a second, pivots and kills Rolf as well. And suddenly it's a 1-on-2 for Maxter, which he almost wins, to be honest. He almost wins it, but it just doesn't happen. And that was one of the things where like the Swedish chat was like, kick Rolf. That was awful. The decision making, I think, is like, in hindsight, obviously, maybe not the best, but that is a guaranteed win if he just finds that frag on the planter, which was unlucky. Those little moments, that could have been a map win against the best team in the world for Eyeballers. The butt of so many jokes over the past couple of years. Like the punchline to so many jokes about bad teams could have taken a map off of Vitality. And they had I get Overpass is CT sided. They had a first half lead as well, going on Vitality. After losing the pistol round to a Zweih ace, they managed to recover it to a 7-5 lead. And it's rough. They were never going to win it, but that's a strong performance, and I can't take anything away from them. I think they did absolutely everything they could in this event, and yeah, and that was a big positive, that game as well.
Okay, well, I honestly didn't watch that game because it was 4 o'clock on a Sunday. I was having some time to myself. I think I was playing a board game with some friends, actually, and I just assumed there was no way Eyeballs would win, and I was right. But I'm surprised the first map goes into that much OT, and yeah, they put out a good sort of showing, it's a good sort of representation of themselves. It's just I just didn't expect that to really last. But yeah, the first big series, the big upset, obviously was that phased loss. Eyeballers win, whatever you want to give more credit to. All that matters is that's the big upset of the first day. We rolled pretty much into the second day with another one, with Monty upsetting Na'Vi.
Yes.
Where, honestly, it did again seem like one team had hard prep for the other. Like Monty were ready. Monty were quite clean, quite polished. But also just looked a bit like Na'Vi were. Yeah, they were ready for the game. They played their game, fairly well called. Fairly well. They just didn't have the individuals sharp for this one. Like the individuals, like we've complained about this before with Na'Vi. They just didn't have a pop off individual anywhere, and that was a bit of a shame. Like you don't expect this Na'Vi side to get outgunned in this matchup, but they kind of did. You don't expect them to get out cold in this matchup, and they kind of did. So I feel like this is one of the classic, big team took it not seriously enough. They took too much time off. They were kind of groggy coming in. There's a bit of ring rust over the holidays. Put on a bit of a belly. Not quite as sharp, not quite as smooth, and then just got beat. Because even Nuke's close. Nuke's the pick of Monty. You guys have done a good job getting yourselves to 13 as the sort of favorite, playing on the other team's pick. But then Mirage, clearly the Monty prep was there. Gizmy's getting a lot of credit for that. We gave him a lot of credit on Overcommed last Friday. Breaking down the way they played those rounds out. But it's generally just a bit of a disappointment for Na'Vi. There's not really, I think, as many positives for Monty. So we do expect Na'Vi to be better in both disciplines, and they just weren't good in either way.
Yeah, I think this might be the bigger upset. To be honest, this might be bigger than Eyeballers beating FaZe, in my opinion, because Monty at this point is, first of all, Na'Vi is a team that I think should be able to handle this sort of game better than FaZe. If I'm stacking Na'Vi and FaZe over the past year, who do I expect more to lose the opening game to an underdog in any given event? It's FaZe. I expect Na'Vi to make it out of groups. Is sort of the thing. But they're also playing with Eyeballers. We have 2 high-performing stars. We have Max, we have Bob XT. We have some strong points for this. Monty don't even have 5 players. Rainwaker is a stand-in. The 4 players they do have, pound for pound, none of them should beat any of the Navi players, I think. Like, you can give a lot of credit to... I give a lot of credit to Bimas. I think he's a little bit underrated over the course of his career, because I think he's better than his career history would suggest. I think Gizmi, you can give a lot of credit as sort of a young up-and-coming caller, but he's stacking up against Alexi B. Like, he's stacking up against your number 2 IGL of last year. Afro is the kind of guy, like, Afro versus Wonderful, are you kidding me? And then Azubu as well is like, yeah, we've seen some talent, but it hasn't really worked out. They don't even have a fifth. Rainwaker was a stand-in. Because over the offseason they couldn't find a fifth. They sold players. They didn't sign a fifth. Like, this is the sort of... That's why I think this is the bigger upset, to be honest, relative to Eyeballer's face. Because I just didn't see it happening whatsoever coming in. But I guess it was kind of like they probably did really underestimate them. I don't know if they could have calculated ahead of time if they would have played Monty. Like, when you look at the pick order, was it likely that Monty was going to pick Navi? I don't know. I don't know if Alexi B and Blade could have anticipated that pick in particular, but they ended up here. I think Rainwaker showed a great game. Rainwaker really playing for advertising himself, because I don't think he's supposed to play with Monty. Like, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. He recently got dropped by 500.
Well, the entire team got dropped by 500. Like, they're just the roster's no longer a thing. He's still with X500 technically, but realistically, Rainwaker for him, it's not just an advert to the scene. It's probably also an advert to Monty. Like, hey, give me a salary. Like, look at the wins we can make happen. Like, sure, we don't go on to convert in the second game where we play Falcons. Like, give us a break. Falcons actually showed up with people who can play online games, apparently. But hell, we got this upset. This is a huge win. I was clutch as hell. I was good in the late rounds. I was doing what was advertised. This wasn't Liquid Rainwaker. To be fair, he also got his roles, unlike in Liquid. But still, like, he showed up and fragged out. So I was really I was excited for that side of it. Like, the part where Monty win, but Rainwaker also plays well, was really cool for me. But I think you're actually right. Like, to get back on this is the bigger upset. You're probably right. We do expect an Alexi B Blade team to be better prepped, better, like, well drilled, generally take care of business against underdog teams. Like, they're not supposed to reach too high most of the time. But they are supposed to set the standard, set the level, and basically pub stomp teams who are not ready for this level of play. And they just didn't look like that. They didn't have, usually in those games, it's like Bit can really pop off because the other team isn't as well drilled in terms of how their XX should look and how their spacing should look. He can really just bang, bang, bang people out. Makaze should be able to just swing and win. Ima has finally found a level of play where, they both sort of aim the same. Like, this is usually his level of aim anyway. It should be great. Why is YouTube telling me to add an advert? Go away. Sorry, I just got a pop-up telling me to add an advert. Fuck, mid-conversation. So no, I do understand why this would be seen as a bigger upset. I also jokingly had Liquid beating NIP as a bigger upset. There are bigger upsets than FaZe losing to Eyeballers when you put in the full context of who the teams are. And in that sense, I think we should briefly touch on, I think, some of the other technical upsets that there were this opening stage, just to not prolong this segment too much more, because we're still just talking about a couple of upsets. We haven't even got into the rest of the 16 games that happened in round one. So Inner Circle upset 3D Max. Pretty cool to see Inner Circle with their new roster playing well. Captain Kurtka post Bird from Sky buff actually maintaining some of that output. That's pretty damn cool. Zero Fix playing a surprisingly good series. Zero Fix has just not been that impressive to me on Inner Circle, right? Like, so far he's been standing in. He's now official, I believe. Just not playing that well. And they get the win done with him playing well, with Davu not even having to carry that hard. Like, that's just a pretty nice start to the season. Sure, 3D Max, there is no flaw. That's why it's not that huge of an upset. But in terms of the ranking disparity and the seeding, obviously it has to be considered one.
It was very impactful of an upset, if nothing else, for Inner Circle. Fun fact, who do you think are the biggest VRS gainers from this event in terms of both points and positions, I think? Well,
if you set that up like that, I'm going to guess Inner Circle.
Yeah, but otherwise you would have guessed Monty or Eyeballers. No, it is Inner Circle. I think Monty gained more points, but Inner Circle gained more positions. Which is... I honestly didn't expect it. The 3D Max was an entirely winnable game for them. It was entirely one that I could see going in Inner Circle's way, and it did. But it ended up being very impactful And also, it ended up being very impactful because Inner Circle were one of the few teams that were lower seeded. Like they ended up lower than Eyeballers in the second draft. So I was looking at this game, and I was like, this is like this and the Ends game are the two games that can really affect if Eyeballers have to play Vitality or if they can maybe play Aurora. That's like it would have been very impactful. So in terms of the event, in terms of VRS, that's actually a very impactful upset. And I think it is a little bit of a statement as well because 3 Max, they're always bordering on the top 10 side. They were for most of last year. I think for this year they will be as well, even if they didn't change their lineup at all. So for Inner Circle to sort of were promised to be this good in a way, like we expected Inner Circle to move up a lot more, or when they were called TNL. I think they sort of missed the chance, like they missed the boat on a bunch of those events that were really impactful in the mid part of 2025, which really hindered them over the fall season, I think, and basically made them hard stuck in tier 2. And this is like a good statement. This is Inner Circle could have been a team they absolutely could have been a team that ended up in the Budapest Major, but I think they sort of missed the boat on that. This game alone goes a long way for them to make a case to be in the Cologne Major. So it's very, very good for them, very impactful.
Yeah, no, crazy the impact of VRS just in terms of one win. Like they didn't even get both the wins, just that one was all they needed. The next upset, as I mentioned, look, I didn't expect Liquid to beat NIP. Is it actually an upset in terms of the seeding and all that stuff, like the picking? No, because Liquid are the 6th seed at this event, and NIP are
insane
22nd. But still, I was relatively shocked. I was like, yeah, damn, okay, Elige's got hands. It took an overtime on Ancient for the 6th seed to beat the 22 seed, and that is sort of the reality of what we're at with Liquid. It's like they're the 6th seed. They won a game. We're shocked, genuinely shocked across the board. But the name brand value you should expect them to win this sort of game. And thankfully, the name brand value actually showed up in that opening matchup. So good for them. They're able to get through. I'm assuming they're also a team that probably didn't take too many liberties over the holidays. Like they probably didn't take that as big a time off as they could have, because they are in no position to be relaxing after the genuine abomination that was their 2025. Pre-Elige, post-Elige, doesn't matter. Everything was pretty ugly, with very few exceptions. Twists, managed to drag them to a Melbourne playoff berth, a Pro League top 4. It's not exactly significant. There's a reason why Twiston is only 11th on HLTV's ranking of team achievements. So we do have to be realistic when it comes to our Liquid judgments. This was unexpected. This was an upset. Quacker. They then qualified. You excited for Liquid this season, or do you think this is just a little bit of a nothing burger, really?
Now, can I get on to what I think is the flip side, the bad side of this format?
If this is the trigger for it, then sure.
It is.
If you're still talking about this game, then sure.
Because Liquid made it through. All right. It's kind of exciting. I would be sort of excited to see Liquid. Oh, they qualified for, what is a playoff? It's an 8-team playoff in a big event. Gamer Legion made it through. We'll talk about that later because they also had a big upset. Heroic made it through. Perivision made it through. What is going to happen in the LAN finals? We have 4 clear favorites in terms of probably the 4 best teams in the world right now. And we have 4 clear underdogs in terms of none of these teams, in my opinion, have recently had a credible case to be top 15 in the world. So what is going to happen in the next round when they get to pick opponents? It should be that we get 0 upsets in the quarterfinal. And in the end, this is they make it to playoffs, show up, and then they exit. It should be the case. And that's what I think is a little bit boring about this format, is that it's very difficult to have deep runs for these underdogs. They can make it to there, and that's impactful. They get some money. They get to collect some money. The bigger the upset, the better the payout as well. Is also something which is genuinely impactful. But if these playoffs are never really that exciting, unless we have 5 upsets in round 2, which requires we have 10 upsets in the first round or 9 upsets in the first round. Nothing is really going to happen because in the end they're just going to have to pick. They pick the weakest opponent, and it's rough. It's hard to get genuine upsets in the playoffs of this. That's what I think is a little bit boring about this. And of course, like you wanna see the best teams make it as deep as possible. We want to see the best sort of Counter-Strike. This is true. but we haven't really had like this format in a way promises an opportunity for the top 32 teams of the world to try to make an impact against the big dogs and try to make a deep run. Getting a 1 win is good, but in the end, it's usually kind of futile. You know, it's big for eyeballers to be able to get whatever they bagged from the phase win. I think they bagged $7,000 or something. Pretty big for them. And whatever else club share they get, 25,000 or something, or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. That's big for them. Even if they beat Vitality, they would just have another Goliath to take down in the next round, and that's tricky. So for Liquid, it's kind of cool that they make it through. They don't have any. They probably have the most fair run in a way on the way there, because NIP is a team that they can beat. It's two teams that I think they've just made a roster change. It's two teams that generally hang around the 15 to 25 range, and then they have Gentlemates in the next one who are arguably worse than NIP. So yeah, nice, good job. It's a run which is fair. I don't see any case for Liquid to make anything happen in the playoffs. They are probably the strongest team out of those underdogs. I think they will get first pick, which I assume means they're going to pick Falcons without Kyusuke. But I don't think they win. I think even with that academy player in there, I don't think Liquid make any impact in the LAN playoff.
Right. So your logic as to the problem with the format is that the underdogs don't get to just play each other and therefore skip around further into the fucking playoffs. Like what is the point of what you're saying? Like what I don't understand the problem. What you've described is the format and said the format's the problem, where the format doesn't just freely boost them into the entire point is they're supposed to upset big teams to make it deep.
The single elimination bracket in these first couple of rounds and the fact that you get to pick your opponents means that we have a higher likelihood of big teams not making playoffs. All right? And that's kind of what happened. If this was a double elimination group stage, probably Navi would have made it through even with that Monty loss. And if this was a regular IEM event. All right. So we get fewer teams to go through to the playoffs. What ends up happening in the playoffs is that we have 4 layups for the big teams that did make it through, unless we have a lot of upsets, like many more than we actually ended up having. That's what I think is a little bit boring, is that the first round of these playoffs are going to be meaningless.
So you understand, in terms of the teams that participated in this event, of those who've made the playoffs, there's like one that isn't in the top 16 of the 32 that initially attended. Like, this is a majority top 16 playoff bracket. There is, what world do you, like, how do you imagine this format having played out to where there isn't some layups early on? Like, is this, that's the kind of the point. Like, they're supposed to beat the big teams, and if they can't, the big teams play each other and we get good CS. Like, what's the problem? I don't understand your problem with this format.
The problem is that the first round of this event, of these playoffs, are going to be 2-0 wins for all the favorites. And if
that's a ridiculous assumption to make.
And if this was a regular event, if this was an IEM or a Blast with a double elimination thing, Aurora probably would have made it through. Navi probably would have made it through. Maybe even FaZe would have made it through. And we would have had some interesting quarterfinals.
So your complaint is that the quarterfinals aren't interesting enough. Just the quarterfinals.
Yes. The next games are going to be bangers, because we probably will have the 4 best teams in the world battling it out for the first trophy of the year. That's cool. I just think that you end up giving good odds for upsets in the first couple of rounds. The third round is most likely to be very, like, even better than you get in these couple of games, because in the first games, the way this works is you get the middle seeded teams, like the lower, if you say the lower 8 of the top 16 and the upper 8 of the next 16 teams, they play each other. Those are close games that are genuinely kind of good, and you get the same thing but for the top 16 in the next round. In the next round after that, though, you are most likely to have the 4 best teams and the 4 mid-range teams. The format means that the 9 to 16 teams get to pick, they get picked by the 17 to 24 teams, which means we have pretty close games, which are more likely to have an upset. The weaker teams probably get filtered out anyway, because they have to play Vitality and Furia. Like, we didn't see Sinners or 9 come through. But by doing that, the quarterfinal becomes very unbalanced. I don't know how to change it. I don't know if there's anything that should be changed.
There's a way to change it. It's called ditching the entire fucking format, because this is Blast Bounty,
Right.
running a double limb group, and then just playing a regular event. But then it's Blast.
What I'm saying is, I think this is the downside compared to a regular event. One of the downsides.
Yeah, but you said you like this format for some reason. What do you like about the format? Is it the fact there are 32 teams, a lot of which are shitters from Sweden? Like, is that why you like the format?
I like the format because the teams we have had come through, Perivision, Liquid, and Heroic, if I'm just going to pick those three, they played Pain, Astralis, Gentlemates, Fnatic, NIP, and ENCE. These are matchups that, through the format, and the fact they get to pick their opponent, you know, it was nice, but it was relatively close games. I could with the exception of probably ENCE, I could see any of those teams winning in those sort of brackets. But we ended up having these come through, and they get to play a LAN playoff because of it. In a regular event, they would have probably had to get past Spirit in one of these games, or Falcons. That wasn't the case because of this format. That's cool. But now, the flip side of that is that the gulf between the absolute best teams, who were always going to beat pretty much anybody, to the teams that got like the average rank of the teams Liquid played is significantly lower than the average rank that, for example, Inner Circle had to play, or Monty had to play. And that's virtue of the format, which means that the playoffs are sort of here and there.
It's honestly,
it's what happens.
all of the end of all of that, it just sounds like your good and your bad are the exact same fucking thing. And
yes,
so you have no real opinion about the format because you like it and you don't like it.
I like it for the first rounds. The quarterfinals are always going to be shit. It's always going to be boring. It's always going to be pretty shit matchups where you know the favorite is going to win.
You can argue the same thing about Eyeballers playing FaZe in the opening stage. You can argue the same thing about Nine playing Fury in the opening stage. These are just boring games. Yet Eyeballers upset FaZe. So why are you so resolute in the idea that Parivision can't upset one of these teams?
Eyeballers were actually a mid-range seeded team. They got number 8 pick, I think, out of 16. 9 had the last or the second to last pick, I think.
The point remains, this is a format built to have big gulfs between teams and upsets happen. If you don't like the fact that there could be big gulfs between teams and therefore it's just so obvious to be 2-0, then you don't like any stage of it.
To have big gulfs. It isn't built to have big. The fact that you get to pick
That's the entire point of it.
No, the fact that you get to pick your opponents means that the gulfs can be smaller. You get the chance to pick a team who are worse than their ranking. The gulf becomes smaller.
So you like the part of this event where the tier 1.5 teams get to play each other. You hate the part where the genuine tier 2 shitters play genuine tier 1 teams. Which is, we can't just have an event that's just that fucking middle portion the entire way through. Otherwise, you'd just be excluding all the top teams in the world, which no one fucking watches.
No,
so
that's
you
the
hate
thing.
The core
we
concept.
Can't have it. We can't have it. That's the thing.
So you hate the core concept of the event. You don't like any of it.
It's the same coin. It's the same coin. I flip it. I like the heads. I don't like the tails. That's the thing. And that's just unfortunate. I'm gonna for round 1 and 2, it's great because we get to have like this. This section is always going to play this section. That's always going to happen. These two sections, in a normal event, they're this distance. In this event, they're like this. That's really cool. But that means that when these guys come through, the gap is always going to be this big. Unlike in a regular event where it might have been this big because these guys were the ones who came through. Do you see what I mean?
No. Anyway, can we move on? Because this is a waste of everyone's time.
Comment below if you see what I mean.
They don't. Anyway, let's talk about some actual Counter-Strike because Lord in Heaven, listening to you vomit that out was difficult.
Right.
Spirit and Parivision. Quite importantly, as a lot of people have noted in the chat, Spirit don't have a pick. Spirit, Liquid are actually picking.
Liquid are picking first. I assume they pick Falcons.
But they don't have to pick Falcons.
No, but I assume they do.
No, but there's a disbalance. There's a mismatch somewhere here. I think people are confused. Are Spirit picking? Like, what's going on? Like, who's the seed that's out of place here? Because there's a seed problem here.
No, the top 4 are the top 4. The teams who are picking are Liquid, Parivision, Heroic, and GL.
Yeah, people are convinced someone can pick Gamer Legion, who's a shit team.
I'm gonna check the bounty sim just to double check, but I am 99% of this.
That's the part that's been throwing some confusion in the chat.
See, the bounty sim tells me to complete the prior stages in order to see this. But I have completed them and I can't see it. So the bounty sim is not working.
That's great. That's really fun.
Huh. Actually, suddenly that might be interesting. But that would in that case be because Gamer Legion beat Aurora, they collected a bigger bounty.
Yeah. Gamer Legion has Aurora's seed. That's what's going on.
No, but that's not how it works. In previous season, you inherited the seed of the team you beat. That's not happening anymore because Eyeballers would have inherited a much better seed than they did when they. Because I thought that at first as well. It's like, oh, they beat FaZe. That means they inherit their 12 seed. They didn't do that. It's reseeded based on what bounty you have. And technically, both Liquid and Gamer Legion have a higher bounty than Spirit. Which means. If that's the way they seed it, I'm not sure it is because I think they might seed it based on VRS anyway. Because you can do that. You can just go on the live VRS and say, we're going to seed it on this.
Honestly,
I'm not
my
sure
entire takeaway from this, honestly, Blast, you're fucking yourselves. The prestige market was wide open and you blew it. You just blew it. You could have had prestige events. Instead, you're fucking around with this. Still.
Right. So
Jesus Christ. Like, it's about...
According to Liquipedia, Furia, Falcons, Vitality, and Spirit are already locked into one of the games, and the other 4 teams are going to be picking between them. That's what Liquipedia says.
Okay, so there's no there's no re-roll, there's no change. Everyone's just confused. Great.
That is what Liquipedia says, but I don't know if that's accurate. Maybe that's just something they've put in temporarily, because that's the assumption. But if you go by bounty, like by the bounty sim, yeah, Spirit end up having the 6th biggest bounty because they only beat shitters, unlike Gamer Legion, who had I don't know if it was 2 upsets technically, but they had at least 1 big upset where they banked a lot of money. And then, so therefore they end up being number 4 on the leaderboard. But the leaderboard doesn't translate to seeding exactly. It's the thing. Like it doesn't do that. Because if it did, then Eyeballers would have had like first pick in round 2. But they had to pick Vitality. So if I'm right, it should be Liquid, Gamer Legion, Perivision, Heroic in terms of pick order. Sorry, it might have been Liquid, Perivision, Gamer Legion, Heroic. So Liquid probably pick Falcons because of missing Kyusuke. I just assume that's gonna happen. And then Perivision probably pick Spirit to get the matchup, like the Zweih matchup. Maybe Heroic pick. That's the thing. I genuinely don't know.
Anyway.
We'll just have to see.
Anyway.
When is the draft show?
I don't know.
Oh.
Anyway, Counter-Strike. Fuck me. Zweih has moved from Spirit to Perivision, and Perivision, whilst they didn't exactly face the cream of the crop in terms of opposition, Ents followed up by Astralis, who, people were kind of excited by after they beat Fnatic. They still, they looked comfortable. He looked comfortable. He looked happy in his sort of updated, although probably like it's a return to his old sort of roles and priorities and positions. It's a nice thing to see. Perivision incorporating this new player, a guy who's more comfortable with the kind of roles, not exact roles, that AW had. Jame seems to have unlocked him to play his fullest and best CS. It's quite an exciting move, especially because on the other side of things, sure, Spirit, again, don't face significant opposition. They play Sinners and take care of business quite comfortably. They play in a circle, and it's a landslide again. Both teams seem to be thriving so far from this series of changes. Both teams seem quite comfortable, quite happy. I think there's a strong chance this has been just a great sort of best of both worlds, win-win kind of scenario, where Zweih gets unlocked, Perivision get another kind of fragger, and Spirit, just find their balance again.
Yeah, it's like Zweih has always been this talented, is the thing. So I think being able to come into this team, and he sort of goes back to that sort of Nemiga thing where I think the pressure is smaller. He's in an environment that is maybe a bit more comfortable. We don't know how it looks behind the scenes, but like he's with he doesn't have the same top 5 pressure that he had in Spirit. So he can sort of slide back into that level which he did have in Nemiga when he was noticed and when he was really recognized. And that is a strong suit. That's a strong position. That's where he in a way should be. So yeah, it's very good. Jame has done it again. But yeah, Paravision are a legit side. Like when I say that it's gonna be the top 4 teams who are winning, I do still think that is true. Whoever Paravision end up playing, I think they can still put up a fight. So that's gonna be interesting. I think they will get the chance to pick Spirit. I don't think any. I don't think any. They should have third pick if I'm correct, and then they should have the opportunity to pick Spirit. I think because I think people will pick Furia. Weirdly enough, despite Furia being one of the top 2 by ranking, people aren't that afraid of Furia. It didn't seem that way in the second round anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Furia's a team where people
I can see them.
Like, maybe they're not as scared of them as they are some of the other players in terms of like the individuals on the side. But I don't see people as not being scared of Furia. I mean, look, Furia were lucky to escape the foot match, and from that side of things, you could say they're a team that you'd like to take a swing at. But they've now got more time to prep. They're going to be more warmed up. They're just not going to look that sloppy. I mean, you're not going to get like the Brazilians of Furia are famous for being dog shit online, especially in Europe. Now they're coming to an actual LAN. Like the odds of this repeating itself are pretty low. I'd still, I'd give most of these teams a chance, like with enough prep, with enough sort of luck, I guess, in terms of the way the veto goes, in terms of how individuals end up matching up. Like there's a very strong chance that a team like a Heroic, like a Paravision, hell, if a Liege plays like that, a Liquid could comfortably beat Furia. So I could see them as pickable. I think Falcons are obviously pickable just because of their stand-in situation. Obviously, we want Paravision to play Spirit for the story. It's going to be fun. But yeah, let's move on to something else quickly. Let's talk about this event. Quack, who was the real MVP?
Thank you, Kevin Durant. I think you could swing a couple of ways. I would honestly maybe give it to Bob XD personally, but that's also obviously a bit biased. I think in terms of
no. You're a true neutral on Swedish CS. Give yourself some credit. You're never biased.
In terms of individual impact, like context relative to the context that they were in, which was the biggest game, and which were the 2 biggest games, and who was the guy personally carrying the biggest load for their team in those games. There's a case for Bob XD in both the FaZe and the Vitality games, playing as well as he did. I think it's a team effort. I think you should absolutely not like take anything away from Maxter, Rolf, JW, or Dex. Bob XD did carry the heaviest load. He is one of the bigger reasons why they managed to play it so close against Vitality and why they managed to beat FaZe. So that's one way you can go. I think in a similar vein, you could also go for Zweih and Nilo, because Heroic and Paravision actually made it through, and they are the 2 guys who really did carry the big loads for their team in those games as well. So by pure performance, like Donk played fucking Sinners and Inner Circle and destroyed them, and he's the top-rated player of the online stage so far overall.
Yeah,
that's great. But I'm not gonna give him a Darrell MVP trophy for beating like shitters in comparison. Not really. Heroic and Zweih, like Nilo and Zweih, like I said, they play opponents that they would probably usually play. A lot of them are the same opponents that they are gonna play in the IEM Krakow play-in, and they make work of them, and they play like they show a good level. That's great. I think I might give it to Bob XD just because of the disparity in level between the 2 teams, personally. But what about you?
Yeah, I had a look. I think one of the actual underrated picks is Molodoi. Like this, Furia should not be in playoffs. They should not. If not for this one nutcase fucking AWPer dragging them, kicking and screaming into it, they shouldn't be in these playoffs. So I think Molodoi's a great pick for the real MVP. I think Nilo's a great pick. He won 7 clutches in 2 series, 5 1v2s, 3 of which were all just on Nuke against friendly campers. Like, you're like, oh, Nuke one-sided win, easy. Yeah, because he won 3 1v2s. Like, they had actually not that great a chance of winning that game. They were constantly down, and Nilo just dragged them back into it. Zwei's a decent pickup, but look, in terms of the match they played, they did need some big performances, like that ends like triple overtime. But he wasn't even, that spectacular. Overall, I would say I'd give the edge to Nilo in that sort of conversation. I just prefer him. But look, there's a lot of guys who did show out at this stage. Adam B on OG played 2 maps, fantastic maps. They still went straight home. They lost 2-0.
Yeah.
Despite it all, gave us a good showing. And on VP, Toro, a new up and comer to pay attention to. But the real picks, obviously, were those guys we've already talked about. It's Donk, just the rating guy. Zweih and Nilo, just for the impressive feat. And then, Molodoi. I'm so tilted. I didn't think I had to still endure this kind of fury of bullshit. Where, it's an online game. Time for Keserato to kick his feet up and forget how wrists work. Like, what do you mean you couldn't frag out against Foot? Why are you getting banged off the server by Foot? Insane, but 2 1.7 maps from Molodoi in the maps they actually win to get them through. Yeah, those guys, you can pick amongst yourself in chat. Actually, I will put up a chat vote in terms of the 4 main options we came out with. Donk, Zweih, Nilo, Molodoi. Actually, not Donk. Donk's just a normal MVP. We'll put Bob in that position. The real MVP, and we'll award the real MVP officially now. Who was the real
Bob
MVP?
XD in as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
Bob XD's way, Nilo Molodoi. No Donk.
Yes,
He's
Molodoi is
too
a great
normal
case
of an
as well.
MVP.
Molodoi is a great case as a hard carry as well for a team that actually did struggle a lot more than I would have expected. Even the 9 game is like there were points where 9 were leading against Furia. They do go out 2-0. Furia do make work of it. There were points where, especially on Inferno, where 9 actually had the lead, and that's the kind of thing where a Molodoi big carry is helped them come through. And the Foot game as well, as you said, they shouldn't be here if it wasn't for Molodoi. But I give sort of the same case to Bob XD, because he puts up a similarly hard carry performance, which ends up in 1 win, 1 loss, a pretty close loss, when it really shouldn't be the case. So I think both of them have similar case. Like I said, Nilo Nilo. He does it, but he sort of does it in the games where he should do it. For Molodoi, he is the difference maker between elimination and finals. For Bob XD, he is the difference maker between a 2-0 or like a 0-2 loss to FaZe to 5 legitimately great maps of Counter-Strike against the 2 major finalists of the last major. For Nilo, he's just in a way, he sort of just did his job. He did it very well. He did it exceeded expectations. But it's, for me, just the gap.
Notice a narrative mechanic at play. Bob XD is the hard carry set up for every fight of his team. This is his job as well, to actually play well and play good Counter-Strike.
But not against the 2 major finalists.
Still, it's his job. It's his job. It's just his job, guys. It's just his job. Just shrug and it's his job.
That's his job.
It's just his job. This is why we don't let you give the HLTV MVPs as well. Like, you just walk in, it's his job. It's his job. The MVP really should be the AWPer who got a Deagle kill. That's who I'm giving my MVP to. I'm Quacker. He did something beyond his job.
JW did that in the Vitality game. In the round I was talking about, the one where they could have won, JW killed the bomb carrier in A-main with 10 seconds to go with a Deagle frag through a smoke. I rest my case.
Need we go any further? I don't think we should.
I am just
Killers. The definition of the real MVP is it's the real MVP. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's the real MVP.
Bobek.
So yeah, that's going to wrap up the real MVP segment. I thought it would be fun to throw it in there. We can talk. We can talk a bit more about the online stage, like every single matchup, but we also don't have all day, so we're actually just going to move on at this point, and we're going to go into the small site retakes. I'm going to take us to a land we don't often visit. Yes, we know it's there, but we don't really talk about Brazil very often. Like, we don't really cover the events. Like, there was the Circuit X last year. There was all this kind of stuff. It was pretty cool, like, to see like the burgeoning Brazilian LAN scene, or really the continually developing Brazilian LAN scene. It's always been there. They're always very enthusiastic for their own events. But it continues into this year. with BetBoom Brazil, like incoming BetBoom Brazilian roster that's going to just play in BetBoom Cups and definitely not be a conflict of interest. But yeah, we have to talk about this event because it actually featured quite a few of the more interesting and more important Brazilian sides. So in attendance were Legacy, Imperial, Sharks, Jame Gladiators, MIPR, and then we start getting towards the lower ends of Keyed Stars, Fake Dobiru, and Game Hunters. But yeah, some really interesting up-and-coming players, some newly signed rosters with some big roster changes, and in the end, a surprising outcome as Sharks actually end up as champions. And do you want to know the best part? It wasn't even all about Koala. Koala had a forgettable event. It ends up being guys that you probably don't even know the names of. Ardienzao, Gaffolo. Never heard of these lads. If you are like me, the majority of European-focused CS watchers, the deep cuts off the Sharks roster are not really the guys you're looking for. But they end up triumphing in the grand final over MIBR. Legacy go down in the consolidation final. They lose to both of the finalists to go home. Imperial also don't make it past the lower final. Some pretty big names knocked off. Quack, impressed by your boy Linus's start here?
To be honest, yeah. It's always going to be rough, and especially with this team, which we have dubbed, or I dubbed as the kind of the English-speaking Tyloo roster once again. That weird Serbian, Croatian, Chinese mix. Just isn't supposed to work whatsoever. To actually, make the grand final and actually make it through, to actually make it through Legacy in particular, that was a 3 a.m. game for me, which I noticed was going to happen, and I was like, I'm going to check how that goes in the morning. But if it wasn't, if Brazil wasn't where it was, I would have been very excited to watch that game. And also that, and also Imperial, it's the same thing. They beat them. They actually had a decent run, and then they do go into this 5-map thriller against Sharks, who Sharks don't seem to be that bad aside. Sharks also beat Legacy and Imperial. It's a strong event for them. They have strong players. They have Koala. So for that, as a debut for this new MIBR, very good. Like, exceeded my expectations. I would have expected them, honestly, to lose a close game against Imperial. And if they win that, I would have expected them to lose to Legacy, because that's a side which has a legit case to play in tier 1 events. This MIBR side really doesn't at the moment. We didn't know where they were. But they managed to beat them as well in a high pressure game, like in a consolidation final to make the grand final. That's high pressure on LAN. Solid. Like, how much can I attribute to Linus as a caller with what I assume is quite little prep, considering how relatively recent this signing seems to have been? I don't know, but they managed to make it happen. And then this final is a great final. Like, it's a 5-mapper. That's probably more than I would have expected from MIBR again. So, yeah.
Well, against Sharks at that point, Sharks have had a good run as well as MIBR. You're still expecting MIBR in terms of name brand value to be favored in this game. But look, I was shocked they made it this far. Obviously, that's why I thought we'd talk about this, because you look at this event and yet it seems like a layup. Imperial, Legacy. Sure, I'm hoping MIBR are going to do something. I've put a lot of stock into Klim. A lot of my stock has moved into his sort of his holdings, into his abilities with the AWP, and obviously his abilities with every weapon, but the AWP is one of the big factors. I was hoping they could do something. The fact they managed to beat both of them, they did also lose to Imperial to go down to the lower bracket, but they were able to avenge that loss in a 2-1 win with an overtime on Ancient, like a bit of a thriller. The fact they're able to avenge that loss is huge. And then going to the final, yeah, at that point, anything's possible, right? Anything is possible. But this was, honestly, the big story of this event may quite simply be that Legacy let themselves down. Like, they start off cruising, they go to the upper final, get kind of shocked. This is the big series from Koala of the event. Like, most of the series, he was mid to bad. This event, this series, he puts up big numbers. He's able to close out some rounds. He's able to do his usual thing. Mr. Pepper getting it done. But they go down to the lower bracket. They've been shocked. Surely they're awake now. No, here's their rematch. Here comes Breno. Here comes Klim. Crazy. Ancient game. Goes at least 2 overtimes, 10-8. I think that's 2 or 3 overtimes. I think that's 3 overtimes, yeah, straight up. able to win an Inferno, but then just shut out on Nuke. Their T side unable to do anything, and this is a T side we've talked about in the past as having some decent variety. A pretty well called Nuke T side. Ted broke it down on an episode of Overcomms, like talking about how they use the outer smokes, how they set themselves up to have multiple prongs of attack or positions or possibilities in terms of how they're threatening you outside. You never know if it's a fake because of the way they layer the smokes. There's all this stuff they seem to do pretty well. In this situation, get absolutely shut out by a really strong-looking Venom Zero, strong Insani, even Clip, like everyone just kind of playing very well, playing confidently off each other. Maybe it's an early sort of, honeymoon thing, because they are relatively new, but still, great to see it at least start off well. We saw a really impressive defense, but also a very disappointing offense. So the big story might have to be in the long run. Legacy should have won this. They let themselves down at the start of the season. They had a bit of a phase after the major final kind of moment. Would they be for the rest of the year actually this level of level of team? Will they actually be the 5th or 6th best Brazilian team, or will they come back to being 11th in the world, 10th in the world in conversations? I think that's our big debate. I don't know about you, Quack, but I'm kind of torn between those two positions of Legacy let down, gonna struggle because last year was a bit of an aberration, or Legacy will be as good as they were last year. This just in itself is the problem.
I think that's very difficult to call, and I think Legacy we often talk about how South American teams playing each other, it doesn't really matter what stage it's on. That's always going to be a domestic matchup, which they've played a million times. They know each other very well. You can have something like Legacy lose 1-2 against Vitality in overtime in an IEM group stage, while MIBR get battered 0-2 by Gamer Legion, and then they play each other in the lower bracket of that IEM group stage, and it's a very close game. Like, you think the difference in level is, but because it's a domestic matchup, they know each other so well, they know the players so well, they end up being very close. It's sort of the same thing here. I don't know how to judge Legacy until I've seen them play against Liquid, Heroic, NIP in those bigger events. That's where I'll be able to say, are they up here still where they were? Because this could just be you're going home to Brazil, and you're playing the same players you've been playing for the past 5-10 years in these events. Maybe not 10 years, but 5 years. And it just becomes a different match, I think, for them mentally. So also when you look at MIBR,
that's my one counter to that, because I'm hearing you say this and I check, I'm like, when was the last time Legacy actually played domestic CS? It's August last year. They've not been back home for a while, and they come back now, and they're facing an MIBR side who, they don't know this team. This team doesn't know them. Linus hasn't played Legacy 100 fucking times. Like, it doesn't feel like a domestic matchup anymore. It feels more like this is just Legacy playing coincidentally Brazilian teams and struggling. Like, if they'd come out and they'd lost to, let's say, in the opening game to Game Hunters, like they'd actually dropped the nuke that went to OT and they'd struggled and they're not closed out, then you could be like, oh, maybe some domestic bullshit. But they lost to a Shark side that they haven't played at least since August, and they may not have even faced them back then. And then an MIBR team who's brand fucking new, 40% non-Brazilian, and as a roster has not really existed ever. Like, the core of Venom, Zero, Insani, and Breno is just not a thing. So I do think this is less of a domestic, asterisk, and more of a different kind of asterisk. If you're going to put an asterisk on it, is what I'm saying. I don't feel like domestic is the one that kind of applies.
No, what I mean is more over terms of their career. How many times have Leto, Dumao, Nissim, Lux, and Sadzin played against Breno, Insani, and Venom Zera over the years? And even just playing as the MIBR tag, this is like what I mean is this is maybe a mental thing and it's a vibes thing. But also, there's a new look MIBR that's also kind of another argument in that sense. Like, you didn't know what the hell you were going up against. Like, you had no idea how this MIBR were going to look, how much prep have they had with Linus, how put together are they? Not even like, how are they going to play on different maps? I don't think you could have looked at heroic demos and said, well, Linus usually plays nuke like this. I don't think you could have done that, because it's an entirely different side with entirely different players. So there's a lot of unknown stuff here as well, which is like, that's why I don't really know.
I think that's more important. The unknown.
That's more important, but that's another thing as well, where it's like, if Legacy go up against Liquid, they have a gazillion demos to look at. And if that's a game which happens in, I assume Legacy's in Krakow. If that's a game which happens in the Krakow play-in, then yeah, they are there. If that's a game which might say they play there, if they beat BC Game in the first game, they're probably playing Foot or 3D Max. Million demos to look at every single map for both of those teams. What I'm sort of thinking is like, okay, that's where I'm gonna judge you. When you're playing against these new MIBR with a weird IGL mismatch and an Opper who only has half a year with a different team, like with a different MIBR side, and like Venom Zera, who you played with Red Canids, all of these things, you know, then it's more pound for pound. Like we're looking at how good is this team and how good is this team. Smash these rocks together and there's going to be a winner coming out. But I think Legacy weren't staying afloat because they are good. They were staying afloat because they were good against these opponents, if you see what I mean. Like, so
right.
I'm going to judge them how they play against the Foot and 3D Maxes of the IEM Krakow. That's where I'll sort of make my call. Are they going to stay as a top 15 contender, as a team I expect to see at the major? Maybe a team with a chance to make top 16 at the major? Or are they going to fall out entirely?
Yeah, that was my question, really.
Right.
Which one will they be? And I agree to a certain extent with everything you said in terms of the unknowns and everything is what matters. Like the fact that they don't know these rosters, they are coming fresh off the break. Maybe this is just like a warm-up event for them because, yeah, like there's VRS implications, but for them, they lost 20 points and 1 point and 1 placement. They're still 12th, you know? There's not really that dramatic a shift that can even happen from this disappointing exit because they have wins against far more impressive teams. They have good results in general. They already have invites for bigger events. This is just a slightly bitter pill, like rather than a complete sort of indictment upon the roster. So for Legacy, yes, maybe this is just a little warm-up event. Didn't go great. You know, Lato played well in a lot of the games they played. That's nice to see again.
Yeah.
But you're just warming up for the season. Nothing too serious. For MIBR, very exciting. Very exciting. It doesn't mean a whole lot. I still think this is a team that played a lot off just new vibes and just energy. But I feel like that's perfect for kind of what I want to happen. Because Linus is going to come in. It's going to be commenting in English. Klim, you know, as the Orper on this team, he's talking English. His English isn't even that great. Like, it's not like perfect, flawless English. The whole thing screams of, all right, guys, what do you want to do? And if he plays one event with Klim tells him, I want to do this kind of stuff, especially CT side, I want to take these picks, make these plays. And at the end of it, you make a grand final, you upset Imperial and you upset Legacy. I think that bodes well for the relationship they're going to have coming up in this season. Like, Linus can be like, yeah, I'll defer to you. You can make those plays. You want to take an M4A1 and rush up mid on Mirage? Go for it. Like, you want to make this play on pistol round with the dualies? Go for it. I like that sort of dynamic and how it will manifest in the coming season. I feel like Klim is the kind of talent you kind of let take the reins, you know, and having had the success early on, I think he will get that freedom because, man, 0.83 KPR, like he's got a 117 rating, classic rating doesn't match the output. I'm not going to pretend it's just the AWP kills being nerfed because he's only got a 0.32 AWP KPR. It's not that crazy. But a 0.83 KPR, 22.5% multi-kills, like just big fragging numbers from this guy. And in the grand final, they lose. The last map, they get crushed 13-5. He still gets a 125 rating. Like, he still gets 20 kills. He still managed to get a lot of output. I think this is going to be a fruitful relationship if properly managed by the IGL, but also a bit by the coach, but mostly that IGL belief, that trust, if it's there. Klim's going to put up some numbers, and all of a sudden, the intro to my video doesn't seem so absurd.
Right. To cap that off, at the moment, as far as I can tell, Cologne is going to have 10 American spots. Right now, MIBR, they flew up. They gained over 200 points from winning this, from coming second in this event. They flew up to spot number 9 on the Americas ranking, but they're only about 50 points removed from falling out to Fluxo. Do you think we see them in the Cologne major? Do you think they can stay afloat? They have Bestia and Fluxo behind them. Like, unless Marsborn or 9C or Voka do something insane and absolutely fly up the rankings before April, do you think they stay afloat at that level?
So they need to hit number 8, right, to make it to the.
No, I think they need to be number 10 because I think there's 10 spots.
Oh, if there's 10 spots, then okay. me see. What are
There
they
might
playing?
be 9. I might have miscounted. Hang on. Let me just double check, because we, as far as we know, unless Valve alter the rulebook, we have 6 stage 1 spots for Americas, 3 stage 2, so that's 9, and then 1 spot for stage 3, which is going to be Furia. So they
which is
should
10.
It should top 10. Yeah. So at the moment, Bestia, MIBR, Sharks are the lower end of that major. Fluxo are literally the only team close to chasing. Next up is Marsborn, 100 points away from
new
it.
Fluxo after Art. I mean, I'm not an Art hater. I don't see them getting 20 times better.
They don't even have a fit yet.
Yeah, technically still yet to be seen. Look, they're playing things like CCT in America, the BetBoom Circuit X. Like, they're playing these low-level lands where I expect them to play. They don't have to win every single one for this to come true, but I think they're going to play well enough to. Honestly, they could even just take a little hop up to number 8. Like, they could overtake Sharks, maybe even overtake Imperial by the end of that circuit if they play well enough. But I don't think they'll play poorly enough to drop out of the top 10 range. This is an MIBR side that's just loaded with talent. And sure, we've said that in the past, but I feel like with a new look IGL, fresh ideas, get everyone kind of also humbling themselves by having to speak second language just to comm as a team. There's going to be an aspect of, like, not quite ego death, but like a sort of cleansing, like holistic, like reset, where it's like, oh, okay, we have to kind of get used to new standards, new feelings, new vibes in the way the team runs. It's going to be, I think, a pretty interesting process to follow. It might reap tons of rewards. They might just crush everything just with their talent on its face. But again, the worst case scenario is they drop to 10. I don't think they can drop out of this top 10. They should make the major. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there's a cataclysmic fallout between the Brazilians and the non-Brazilians. Maybe all of that, doesn't come true. They don't want to use Duolingo. They say, fuck y'all, and kick them after 3 months, or 1 month rather, because at that point I think the cutoff's already hit. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic. I like these players.
Yep. Right. Just as a small interjection before I move on to my small site retake, because this segment is back. We've been neglecting it for a couple of weeks now, I think, but
it's just
we're
not
back.
been sites.
No, I have confirmed seeding does not change with the bounty. So it is going to be the top 4 are getting picked by Liquid, Heroic, Perivision, Game Legion is going to be the order. So Liquid, Falcons, probably. I just assume when Kyusuke is gone, you pick Falcons.
You would. I mean, on LAN, you're facing Munacy. You're facing a team that's going to be loose and maybe going to be like, yo, Nico, Nico, want to come out here? Like, like there might be some unleashed sort of force you don't want to fuck with, but at the same time, I get it. There's no Kyosuke. Fucking just bring it on. Like, it's not even.
Yeah, it's not even just there's no Kyosuke. There's also just like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, you're playing Nucleons, who has played a grand total of 5 of HLTV maps and lost 4 of them. Like,
his ratings are 113 on HLTV. Like, he's played a bunch of best of ones, right? What event was this again? Red Bull Giveaway. Okay, it's back at Giveaway.
He beat Masonic and almost beat Ents.
Beat Masonic, dropped to 158 on Foot Academy whilst losing 13-6. Like, he put in a shift. He's a, he's gonna. They might look. There's 2 ways they can go about this. They either tell him to throw flashes and shut the fuck up, or they go, let's have some fun. You get to do everything Kyosuke does. You get to call your shot. We'll throw the flashbangs. We'll set you up. Kicksan will go die. Tesses will go die. We'll just do everything we can to make you happy and just have some fun. I hope that's what they do. Just play loosey-goosey. Just say, screw it. Nucleons, what do you want to do? Like, on this map, let's say we play Nuke. Where do you want to fight? What do you want to run through? Like, how do you want to be set up? That would be really funny. That would be fun. Yeah. I think that'd be enjoyable, especially if it worked. But no, this is definitely a team you'd want to pick.
Yeah. All right. First leaked and then partially confirmed this week. We know pretty much where all of the 4 next majors after Singapore are going to be. We know where this next 6 majors are going to be. Or I know, and I'm going to tell you. I don't know if you know, because you don't usually keep up with this stuff.
No, I'm not the journo, so I'm not the one who's supposed to keep up with news and formats and all this other crap. I'm supposed to talk CS. That's my job.
But do you want to do an Eternal Shuffle A to F rating for each of these major locations?
Okay, let's just start. So this year we've got Cologne and Singapore.
What do you think about Cologne? Cologne major? A to F?
It's a B because you're not really trying. Like you took a already prestigious event and just like stick major on it. Like everyone's already going. You didn't have to sell it. Like it's not really that big of a. I know it's going to work. It's going to be good. It's just you didn't try. Like you didn't try.
Right.
And then Singapore, A plus. I love Singapore as a city. It's a clear case that total authoritarian rule can work with a small enough population and a lucky high roll on the benevolence of the leadership. Yeah, Singapore's pretty dope, honestly. Like the end result is a pretty sick place to visit, to live. Like it's a cool city. I would like to attend that one, if not for the budgetary constraints that I have in terms of travel right now. Yeah, I think Singapore's a great pick.
Yeah, all right. Now, the next one, which was actually confirmed as well after it was leaked. It was very weird because HLTV, first some Russian guy who used to work for Perry, the betting company, was like on Telegram, I know the location of the next majors and people are going to be upset. That's all he said.
Yeah, I saw that leak. I was like, okay, sure thing.
Yeah. Right. Then the day after, HLTV went sources. We know where the next two majors are going to be. And in that same article, they were like, we contacted Fire League and he confirmed, like the CEO confirmed that we're going there. But they didn't announce it. Like a super weird leak where you would expect the CEO to be tight-lipped when you know the announcement's coming the day after. But anyway, we're going to Buenos Aires, Argentina for the first Fire League major, or as they're calling it, the Fire Major.
Okay.
And they're doing the same thing as when Blast it's not the Blast Paris Major, it's a Blast TV Paris Major. Ooh. So yeah, we're going to Buenos Aires in the spring of 2027. What do you think?
A lot of people hated it. Because mostly they're like, who the fuck are Fire League? Why are Fire League hosting? I'm like, I kind of enjoy the idea that we're going to Argentina and this Argentinian company, it seems, / Buenos Aires-based company, are going to be hosting the actual event. We've not just shipped out fucking Blast's crew. Like, we've actually gone local. Like, I kind of respect that sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm a bit dubious of Fire League. Because I remember, I'm not sure if I'm misremembering, I'm pretty sure I've seen some Fire League finals have some criminal delays despite being always in Buenos Aires. Like there's no reason for them to be still fucking it all up. I'd expect them to be smooth at this point and to run it well. But still, I have reasonable concern in terms of a city in Buenos Aires. For me, I think if I'm just making sure I've got my numbers right, I'm just looking up the Wikipedia to make sure I know the population and the size of the city.
It's pretty big.
It's fairly large. It's not London big. It's not like New York big in terms of population or Seoul or anything like that. But it's a relatively large city. For me, it's a bit large for a major because I like small city majors. I loved Antwerp.
Yeah,
that was awesome. But this is honestly, it's a nice looking city. It's somewhere I'd like to visit. Go find all the very tanned Schmitz. But it's as a holiday destination, cool. Like pretty cool. As a major location, not quite there, but decent. I'll give them a B for very different reasons to Cologne.
Right. I'll give you two things, one positive and one negative. First of all, a lot of people complain about the time zone. The time zone is fucking perfect.
It's not about to say it's not a problem at all.
It's fucking perfect. It is 4 hours behind Central European time, so 3 hours behind you. 5 p.m. You're not Central European time. I am.
Yeah, he said 5 hours from CET.
No, 4 hours from CET.
Oh, you said 5. Or at least I heard 5. I don't know.
It might have been 5. Now I'm second guessing myself, but I'm pretty sure it was, when I looked it up, it was 4 hours.
It's GMT
wait, never mind.
3.
They don't do summertime or wintertime, and we have wintertime right now. Whatever the difference is, it's not huge. If you have a 5 p.m. final in Buenos Aires, that's going to be perfect time for like an evening Sunday game in Europe. It is literally perfect. The World Cup, like the World Cup, legitimately, it's so far west, we're going to have fucking midnight games. We're going to have games starting at 3 a.m. European time in football. That sucks. That's like on the west coast of North America. Kind of sucks for us. But if you do, Buenos Aires is genuinely pretty perfect. genuinely pretty perfect for that. So if you're complaining about the time zone of having a Buenos Aires major, no, fuck off. It's 9:32 a.m. here right now, and it's 1:32 here, so it's 4-hour difference. Right?
It might be rough for like India, I guess. Like,
right. Yes. And what
the big market that is Iran, that might have some problems.
Most of the people complaining about time zones when it comes to majors are in Europe because where the people who are used to having good finals. And look, if you do a 3 p.m. final, a 3 p.m. grand final in Budapest, that's a very comfortable 7 p.m. game. In Buenos Aires, sorry, not in Budapest. That's a very comfortable 7 p.m. game. You have dinner and then you watch the major final. It's perfect. This flip side, though, the one that is a complaint, is that Fire League have never hosted an event this big, and a lot of people were excited because they're like, oh, they did the one in the subway, right? They did that cool thing in the subway station. That was actually really cool, right? And then you know that they didn't watch the event because everything I remember is it was a fucking shit show. It's a fucking shit show. So for like organizationally, you have to prove me wrong here, Fire League. Like you have to prove me wrong in terms of your capability of hosting an event this large. But they might manage it. Like I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Go ahead. Like I'm sure if they put this bid into Valve, like Valve still obviously want a well-run major. They won't just pick the cheapest option. They'll consider everything. They were probably competing with ESL and Blast and all that, obviously. So go ahead. You have my attention, but you will have to prove me wrong. Now, next major is also known. It is going to be Perfect World, and it's going to be in Shanghai. We're going back to Shanghai 3 years after the fact. Now, I enjoyed the Shanghai major as it was happening. I thought it was pretty well run. I thought it was interesting. I didn't get to catch much of the city. You know, it's not. But obviously, I wasn't there. But like, but I remember it was quite nice to wake up in the morning and have major games going.
I'm a bit, yeah. In terms of that side of things, I'm not really thinking about it too much. I'm not going to try and be too London biased in terms of the time zone. Hell, this the time zone. The time's wrong. Like I'm not going to try and I'm trying to avoid that side of things when I'm talking about locations. Shanghai is a massive fucking sprawling metropolis, and in that sense, I think it's too big. In terms of the Chinese audience, though, and the Chinese viewer base, it's pretty good. Like, they are going to attend. They're going to be all out. There's a good chance we have, like, you know, as we've seen with a lot of Chinese events, there's a stage at every damn, like, event. Like, there's every part of it's going to have a stage, a crowd, atmosphere, ambiance. In that sense, you can't complain. Can't complain at all. They're going to show up. They're going to turn out. And you're going to have a, like, rowdy sort of environment. That's pretty cool.
It's a great crowd. It was a great crowd.
So I think Shanghai's a pretty great pick. Like, I can't complain. Like, I think I have to give them an A. Is it going to suck for me, some of the time zone shit? Probably. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world, but probably a little bit of sucking. But I think it's a good choice. The Chinese have shown that they will show up for CS events. They will, you know, have a big crowd. They will make noise. They will be a relatively neutral fan base as well in terms of supporting, like, the big teams, the big players, because there's not really that many choices in China. So you'll get a good crowd at every single sort of match, unlike certain Brazilian events. So I do think this is a well-earned pick in terms of this scene deserves a major. But yeah, I just don't think the city's ideal. I'll still give them an A, but you know, for my personal like holidaying interest in terms of what I want from a major when I'm there in person, I think it's a bit big.
Yeah, I think the only thing which is a little bit for me is that it might be a bit too recent. It's like the Shanghai major is still quite recent in memory. It feels like if you're gonna do another major in Shanghai, you want to do it a bit further along so you can do it as a callback. Like remember when Donk won his first major? Like you can do that thing. And it's a bit maybe I mean look, we're still talking a year, well, almost 2 years out from now. So it's still gonna be at that point it's gonna be a bit more distant. But now that we're finding out, it does feel like we're going to Shanghai again instead of going to a new place. But yeah, that's what's happening. Next major, we're talking 2028 now. They have been decided. We know the TOs. It's going to be ESL and Blast. So we know, at least in that case, we know we're getting quality. We know we're going for the big dogs. I can't remember which one was the spring one and which was the fall one. But the Blast one is supposedly going to be in the US somewhere. So we might go back to Austin. We might go to a different place in the US. But it's going to be another Blast US major, supposedly. What do you think about
that? Yeah,
I enjoyed Austin.
I don't
thought it was nice.
mind. Just like, we're giving them a bit much. I think like we stop it. Like they're shit. Like to put it bluntly,
right.
NA majors have not saved the NA play base. Like that hasn't magically fixed the problem. Can we stop giving them majors?
No.
There are places in Europe that have been neglected entirely from major consideration that have been far more significant to the development of the modern scene, to, you know, top legends and pros all time. Sure, they don't have the literal like numbers in terms of viewers. Like there's always going to be more Americans than there are, for example, Czechs. But like the Czech LAN scene has been awesome, produced a lot of top talents for the modern world, or the Czechoslovak sort of LAN scene and development that's been really critical. I feel like there's other places that deserve it more than another North American one. God damn it. If it's in Canada, I'll allow it. If it's in Canada, I'll allow it.
I can't remember if it was just it's going to be in North America or it's going to be in the US, but I think it was going to be in the US. So
put it in Canada, please.
That would be nice. I'm a little bit concerned about visa issues. We already had a little bit of that in Austin. Halser couldn't show up, and Bestia obviously had some trouble. That was sort of their own fault as well, supposedly. It very recently it got worse. I'm pretty sure this was a news item this week where I think all tourist visas for like 71 different nations, several of which have notable Counter-Strike players, just wouldn't get any visas. And I get tourist visas. I don't think it's not what you usually get when you go to an esports event, but it is one of the options that you might use to go to an esports event in the US. So as a player. So that stuff, we're talking 2028. Things might look very different then, since this is very much a political topic as well. But for now, I'm a little bit like, we're going back to the US and it's going to be even worse visa-wise. But anyway, finally, ESL.
Yeah, that's why I said Canada. They'll let anyone in. Have you noticed?
Yes. Finally, the ESL major. They're doing the same thing as Cologne again, but they're doing it with either IEM Rio or IEM Melbourne or Sydney. I think it was literally just like Brazil or Australia, because they rotate those. Like they have IEM Rio, they have IEM Melbourne. We've also been in Sydney. I don't know if it's Melbourne and Sydney or if it's just like they alternated, or they decided. I don't know which one it is, but like Australia, Brazil, that's two of the IEMs they run, and then Chengdu. But it's going to be either Brazil or Australia, which is going to be the major. And it's the same thing as Cologne. They just took their event and made it a major, as they have done with IEM Rio and a bunch of others. Katowice as well. So yeah, they're doing that trick again. Either Brazil or Australia. I want to go to, like, time zones be damned. A major in Australia, I think, would be nice.
Fuck yeah, take me to Australia. Like, sure, the same thing applies. You can say I'm being a hypocrite because the Aussies suck at CS, but we've never been to Australia for a major.
It's the best crowd in esports.
Yes, as we have to be reminded a billion times every broadcast because we're pandering little. Anyway,
if you're not here, you're not living. Let's go to boys, as he says. That was, dude, when I met Mac in Belgrade, that was the only thing I could think when I was talking to him. And then my girlfriend asked afterwards, like, who is this guy? And I just said, if you're not here, you're not living. And I was like, that's what he's known for. That's the only thing I could think when I was talking to him. I'm sorry, Mac. But that's, unfortunately, that's just.
I'd be down for an Aussie major, just in terms of, again, the same way I gave those compliments to the Chinese crowd, to everything like that. The Aussie crowds have been fucking, like, quite nuts.
Yeah.
Now, I don't need to be fucking told that whilst I'm watching the event and noticing the Australian crowd being great. Like, stop filleting them. They don't need it. They're already drunk. But, no, it is the sort of thing I'd like to see. Like Melbourne, I don't care which one. I don't know the different Australian cities. I'm not one of those British people. Because firstly, I'm not British, but I'm not one of those people with this accent who goes off to Australia all the time and, like, you know, for some reason makes that their whole identity. There's a lot of people who just constantly go off to Australia for months on end, like, oh, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. All right. I don't care. So I don't know which one's good, which one's bad. Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra. Oh, I know the names. I don't really know them. I doubt it's going to be in Perth, but that's technically an option. But yeah, I'd rather see it in Australia than Brazil.
Yeah.
Just to be honest, because the Brazil majors have always had some problems.
Bias. Yeah.
Some slight problems. So yeah, stick it in Oz. I think that'll be more fun than having it.
We have a Brazilian viewer, I think, in the chat saying Aussies are Brazilians but good.
Yes, that is our one Brazilian. That is the Brazilian we keep around.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. There's another one who spams all caps. Fallen is the goat, but yeah.
He is not quite, but yeah. I want to go to Prague. I'll just reiterate: we should have gone to Prague. Prague, Czech people are Australians, but good. And
shut up. Prague would be fun. Helsinki would be fun. I saw someone mention we haven't ever had a Finnish major.
Dude.
I mean, Helsinki would be fun. Big statement. Helsinki will be sad and depressing because it's too far north. But
fall season major in Helsinki would be like, imagine the winter vibe. How all the sauna intermission content you could do. All of those would be so nice.
Content. That's what we need. We need Harry and Hugo in a towel and nothing else in a sauna interviewing,
you're smacking each other with a
That's
branch.
What we need.
Yeah. And then pouring some more water.
Yeah, you do a quiz, and if you get the answer wrong, get fucking hit with the stick.
You do that. That's what you do. That's what you do for. I was about to say for pleasure, but that's what they enjoy about it. Smacking
yes,
yourself.
I'm sure the Finns do, but the random fucking people who are not Finns, who are not from sauna culture, getting smacked by a bush is not going to be fun.
It would be very fun.
Enough about the weird snow people of Europe, the snow elves, as some people call them. Let's get back to Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
that's all well and
what
good.
We know.
We still the intro for this segment is still lost in the wilderness. I will bring it back someday, and you will lose your minds in chat. I know you will. But it's time for Quack's one job that takes him forever to do, and sometimes he doesn't even manage to do it. It's time for Cock of the Week.
Right, yes. And it is a long HLTV thread, which is somebody who has ranked their top 10 players of all time and has encouraged others to do the same, which has led to some insanity. So, the original list, just rip it up. This is from the user JL1 Major, Nico 0 Major, which is based. He said, number 1, Zweih, over simple, over device. That is his top 3. Honestly, surprising amount of people in this thread have Zweih as number 1. I'll just start that off. There's very few people who have simple as number 1, which is interesting.
Yes.
Then we have Nico, Olaf, Colzera, Rops, Get Right, Donk, and Magisk. Where do you disagree with this list?
All over the shop. But firstly, I need to start with this qualifier. All-time great lists are often skewed by your perception of what greatness is. Now, technically, in terms of the Oxford Collins Dictionary, great and best mean the same fucking thing and are pretty perfect synonyms. So the problem comes when you actually talk about like all-time great players for sports, for esports, for all that stuff, is that often people will add this context that I also like to, because I think it's a more interesting conversation, of greatness being more about your accomplishment. Yes, it's about how good you were individually as your peak as a player, but it's also about how many titles you won, how often you were recognized. There's a small factor of either intentionally or unintentionally cultural impact bias that comes into this sort of thing, where I think it shouldn't really be an actual factor you consider consciously, but that can be, from an anthropological sort of perspective, considered to be relevant to these conversations. It's not really a thing I'd choose to sort of have, but it's a part of these conversations. So that's the context I want to add here, because I don't think there's a lot of people who have Zweih all time who believe Zweih at his best on the server was a better player than Simple in any given match. You know what I mean? There's no person who goes, no matter the context, give me Zweih. I don't think that's the case of the conversation being had here. The reason Zweih is here at number 1 on a lot of people's lists is the major wins. Some of them, I'm sure, for some fucking reason, is because of HLTV giving him the number 1 award, which is, like, come on, have your own opinion. HLTV is not going to sleep with you. You don't have to, like, use that as a metric. Just have your own opinion. There's going to be a number of things playing into this. That's why, as well, you'll see a player like Device at 3 and Donk at 9. Even though we all know Donk is the better player. Like, you can have a debate about Donk and Simple. I mean, I don't think there's much of a debate left between Donk and Zweih because their peaks have overlapped, essentially, and Donk's better. But yes, you can probably say quite comfortably that Donk is the best player you've ever watched. But then when you come to make your greatest list, even though the two are synonyms, you end up with Donk at 9 because of the other factors that come into play when it comes to greatness. And I do myself include these factors. That's why I still have Nico above Donk, just about for greatness of all-time riflers. It's not a very long distance to catch up, but I do think in terms of all-time career, all-time achievement, all-time contribution, there's something that you can say for Nico still above Donk, just about. It's getting tougher and tougher by the second. But this list, first off, even with all that context I've created, Olof at 5 is a sign of like, this is a very clear mental illness. It's in that document that gets produced about mental illness. It's called being Swedish. There is no other reason to have Olof Meister at 5. Olof Meister has, as a peak, a decent peak. Like, he's HLTV of number 1. If you watch the year he played, you're like, yeah, he's a pretty good player. On a pretty loaded team, though, does kind of help. And he fragged fairly well, like a star rifler would. But in a frag-heavy environment, the output actually wasn't that impressive overall. Like, it wasn't unique, one-of-a-kind, historic output. He was just a very good player on a good team. That's his peak. That's 1 year. Beyond that, where the hell is everyone getting this greatness from Olaf Meister from? Now, you may like him as a person, that doesn't make him a greater player. You may find his stream fun, doesn't make him greater as a player. You may be impressed by the fact that he was a star, then became a role player and got carried to a bunch of wins. That doesn't massively multiply his greatness at all. Like, it may be a small little thing you can give him his credit. Like, you can say that it was an impressive thing to do. It doesn't make him the 5th greatest player of all time. So that rating by itself invalidates the entire list. Invalidates the entire list. I don't even have to get into Robs over Get Right, Olof Meister over Get Right. I don't have to talk about Donk at 9, because I understand the context of this person's list. Then Magisk at 10 is just weird. For so many reasons. Considering the logic of putting Magisk at 10 is just invalidated by Dupree just being better in every way for that sort of placing. So I do not get what this person's done. But there are some worse lists. There are some worse lists in this thread. And that's kind of the point of why this entire thread has been added as Cock of the Week.
Yes, and we are going to rip through a couple of them, I thought. So, okay, I tried to pick up some of the interesting ones that I think you can pick apart. Somebody here has made a peak list and a career list. And I think their number 1 pick for the peak, I think, is bait. Like, it's a joke because they put Nifty. But the rest of the list, I think, is serious. So, disregarding Nifty being number 1. Donk, Simple, Kenny, Guardian, Cold, Nico, Zentares, Shocks, Hiko. Is this based?
Wait. I need to find this thing.
Number 86.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they have numbers. Joey Apricot.
Yeah. There we go. Okay.
Right.
Oh, they spelled... Okay. Yep. Nifty, Donk, Simple... I mean, okay, yeah, as you said, ignore Nifty.
Nifty's a joke, so make it a top 9. But we have Donk, Simple, Kenny, Guardian, Cold, Nico, Centaurus, Shocks, Hiko. I'm low-key.
Stop. None of y'all watched Guardian. None of y'all watched Guardian, because that's just... You're just taking the piss. Like, you didn't watch Guardian. You didn't watch Hiko either, kid. Like, I'm sorry. You're either a fake old man or you're a really blind old man, because you do not have Hiko and Guardian on this list. Especially not in the placements you have them.
Do you know what this is? All 10 of these players are players who appear in any top 25 best Counter-Strike clips compilations. All of them. I can name the clips. It's the Nifty 50. It is any Donk clip. It's any Simple clip. It's any Kenny clip. It is that one Guardian ace on Overpass. The one on 5 on face. It is a bunch of Coldzera clips, but the jumping double, for example. Nico, it's the deagle.
Peak skill, by the way. The jumping double from Cold. Peak skill.
yeah. It is the Nico deagle. I can't remember if it's a 4K or a 1-on-4 or ace, but
There's
the one on
two
cash.
Nico deagles, aces, both on cash.
Yes, it's that one Zentaris clip where he's not even in a pro game. He's just streaming, but he has perfect crosshair placement and hits insane shots on Dust 2. It is that one Shocks clip where
he clutches against SK.
Okay.
Or he gets a deagle ace of his own. Like, there's a lot of shit deagle clips. 6 Shocks clips.
I'm thinking that one on Inferno where Semler calls him Shoxy.
Yes. Shoxy is a god. Yes.
Yep. And then you have Hiko, who obviously either has that one cash clip or inhuman reactions. That's why they are at this peak list. That's why they are in this peak list, because he doesn't watch the game. He watches the highlights. That's why. But anyway, his career list as well is also interesting. Zaiwu device simple is a fair front 3, I think. I think it's fair in terms of a career ranking. Then he's got Nico, Get Right, Forest, and I can see it. Then he has Dupree, which is fucked. Why is he down here? Then he has Rops, Zentaris, and Keserato.
So I think this person is either mentally ill or baiting, because that's the question, right? Mentally ill or bait, you choose, because there's just no planet where this is the case. There just isn't a world where that can be true.
No. And we're going to swiftly move on from that because I have a bunch of others. Here is another list. This is just the top 10.
Tell me the
from
number.
Get Swifty. Number 89. Number 1, Forest, Device, Coldzera, Get Right, Neo, Dupree, Simple, Apex, JW, Skadoodle. Notice I did not say Zaiwu.
So this person... So I've thought for a second,
he also
maybe...
says in a reply. Right, yeah.
I thought maybe this is a person who's gone and missed the point that I think the thread's CSGO and CS2, right?
Yes. So he has probably gone source 1.6, whatever. That's why Neo is in.
That's why Neo's here. Forest is at 1 and Get Right's at 4. Like, that would make sense if you were a 1.6 on kind of list. Does make me question where Shocks is. Maybe they didn't know Source happened. Maybe they didn't watch early Go either. They did 1.6, skip a few, then we did the rest of CS. But overall, there is, this is a weird blend of achievement and individual play that makes 0 sense by the end of it.
Yeah,
like, it just doesn't make any sense.
He also justifies why Skadoodle is on the list by saying, I think he deserves to be cheered, not only Boston Menace though. He refused to be part of that scandal. I think that was one of the most honorable stands in CS history.
Did he refuse? Did he refuse?
That's why he makes up for being honorable. And he also, like that's why.
Do we want to call up Mr. Richie Lou to get the full story on the Skadoodle part of that conversation? Is there an off chance that maybe Skadoodle heard about the investigations and then refused his skins? Can we get that confirmed? Can we get that confirmed? Is Skadoodle super honorable? Did he not choose to
Did he do one of the most honorable stand in CS history?
Yeah, pure delusion, of course, from
a random
fanboy.
He did refuse to be part of that scandal. He didn't accept the skins when he knew it was controversial.
Once he knew there was going to be a scandal.
He did refuse to be part of the scandal. Yeah, that's true.
It was a choice to not get banned for life. Like, when he saw that was his choice, he chose not to get banned for life.
Here's another one from Roland Pilled Individual. Guess the nationality. It is a top 10 players, meaning skill-wise. So this is excluding team achievements entirely. Rops, sorry, I misread. Donk, Simple, Monacy, Nico, Zentaris, Zaiwu, Rops, Elige, Frozen, and Rez, with a bunch of honorable mentions, which I'll just say include Mattis and Electronic. So
I was confused because I heard you say Brolan Pilled. I didn't realize you said Roland.
Roland Pilled. Yeah.
I just assumed you were saying Brolan. I'm going to be honest. Right. So best in pure skill. We're excluding team achievement. Fascinating.
Yes.
Donk, Simple, Monacy, Nico, Zentaris, Zaiwu, Rops at 7 is a fucking funny. Elige, great movement. I love that. Great movement. Yes, movement.
Yeah.
That's the part of the game that really
that
matters.
that's Rops' claim to fame, you know.
It's really not. Anyway, Elige, Frozen Res. Res. If your time on NIP does not count, then nor does Res's peak, so it's a retarded thing to throw in.
If your time on NIP doesn't count, then Res has about half a year of career play.
Yeah, and he's not that good. He's good, but he's not that good.
I do also enjoy. Yeah.
There's an unhonorable mentions part. I assume that's what U stands for. Cold Zero fraud, electronic fraud. Yeah,
I didn't read the fraud part. I thought that was like ultra honorable mention.
It's really not.
Thought it was. Senzu we also mentioned as an honorable mention, and I think Matisse is very funny.
Matisse is the honorable mentions of whatever, because that's where Forest Get Right and Neo are. But like, okay.
I do like also, this is skill-wise, excluding team achievements. He's put Donk number 1, but he's put Nico number 4 with the motivation best rifler of all time.
Yeah, using the word best again, which Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Anyway, this is fucked. I have another one, which is top 10 CS:GO offers.
Oh god.
This CS:GO offers. This might be interesting. Number 1, simple. I think it's fair. All right, that's based so far. Zweih, Device, Kenny S, Guardian. So far, I'm honestly so far kind of good. JW, Fallen, Shiro, Monesi, and then joint in 10th place is Oscar, Brokey, and Alu.
All right, timeout. Top 10 CS:GO AWPers. If we're talking in terms of individual like peak of skill, get fallen down the list to 10, tied with everyone else. It may be, but Oscar is just better than all those guys. Secondly, if it's not based on just your individual peak, because if it was, also Kenny S below Device, retarded. Why the hell is Fallen here at all? If it's about your career in CS:GO, from 2013 to 2023, right? That's what halfway through that is when we switch. To average out Fallen's performance on the AWP, what comes out the other side is a greyish pile of shit. It's not a star AWPer.
No.
He has
have to give credit.
Elite years as an AWPer. 16 and 17. 2 truly elite years.
Yeah.
15, he's probably up. He's probably could be playing as well, but he's not playing in that competition regularly enough. He's not got enough eyes on him to really give him that credit, but he's probably decent. But from like 2018 onwards, he's just bad. And that's more years than he's good, so I just don't understand this Fallen placement. This is just a really strange list again.
Can I go out on a limb and say one thing here?
Yeah.
I think if Fallen makes number 7, based on calling, based on winning majors and everything, I kind of feel like Cadian has to make top 10, like that joint spot, because he was also opping and calling and being a top 20 player while opping and calling. I feel like Jame might have to make it.
There's no reason to believe that's the actual categorization. I think
the fact that Fallen is here is the reason to believe that.
Yeah, the reason it's here is because this person's an idiot. Like, that's the point.
Jame, same thing. Opping and calling, winning a major, etc. So yeah, in CSGO as well. But yeah, anyway, I have 2 more very quickly. Number 46, Zweih, Simple, Nico, Device, Coldzera, Rops, Flusha, Olofmeister, Donk, and Monesi. That's their top 10. Look, okay.
This person gets credit for one thing. They put Flusha above Olof.
You get credit for that. That's one thing, yeah.
You get credit for that. Shout out this person.
Yep.
The one person who's not got his tongue up Olofmeister's ass / a knife in Flusha's jugular. Yeah, credit. That's a fairly base placement. Overall, again, the list is just whatever. Like,
yeah, Get Right's not in. Monesi is in. That I feel like is criminal, to be honest.
Yeah, if the problem's not there, the problem is Olofmeister's in. Get Right isn't. Like,
true, fair.
Like,
yeah.
Again, Olof, the most overrated player of all time. Fallen was number 2, number 6. Oh my god, am I? No, I'm still me, not Striker, so I don't give a shit.
Finally, okay, final list. Top number 49, top 10 all times, all CS version. So this is one where you might have some
CS
more expertise.
versions.
All versions of CS.
Okay.
It's not just going to, it's all of them. Number 1, Zweih.
No.
Agree or disagree?
No.
Simple, next up, and then device.
The fuck is Device doing here?
Joint for 4th place is Forest and Neo. But he's given the edge to Forest slightly by mentioning him first. 6 is Kenny. 7 is Flusha. 8 is Rops. 9 is Get Right. 10 is Kerrigan.
Yeah, this is
Based.
bait or retardation. Take your pick. Like, this is just... What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? This is your top 10 of all time and all CS. Top 10 what? Top 10 names you like the sound of? Then yeah, sure. Great
top 10
list,
alphabetically.
Bud. Great list, Bud. Like, this is meaningless.
Yeah. Well, here we are, and this is a glimpse into the mind of the average HLTV forums user. Genuinely, I tried to pick the ones that aren't bait, because there's a couple of here where I'm like, okay, this is actually a funny list, but then they also put Snav in the middle of it. Like that was one, and I was like, did they spell snacks wrong? No, it's meant to be Snav. He's American. But you know, but then I can't take that. I tried to pick the ones that genuinely sound serious enough, that aren't baity enough, just people who are dumb. So this is a genuine glimpse into the mind of the general Counter-Strike populace.
I hate it. Please plug me back in. Plug me back in. Take me back to the Matrix. Reality is too scary for me.
Right. There we are. That's cock of the week. Several cocks. Many cocks handled. It is a bukkake of cocks of the week this week. So.
Okay. Did not need that mental image. I'm not sure anyone else at home wanted it either. And some people at work as well. Thank you for this interlude into your workday.
Comment below if you were on the bus laughing out loud when I said that, because that was my intention.
I need a soundboard with crickets, but yeah.
We need to get a soundboard, dude. I've been listening to like morning shows recently, like radio shows, and we need to get a soundboard.
Why are you 45 years old? Like, look at
we need to get a soundboard.
Look at your face. Look at what do you mean you're listening to morning radio shows? How are you 45? Like,
we need Quack's morning zoo. That's what we need. All of the soundboards are just chicken sounds.
You're listening to Quacky and the King on 103.7. Like, no, we're not doing that.
I'm getting a soundboard.
On to the Retake Games. Quacker, you took a week off, a very strange week off. You've come in with a game that you seem really, really excited for.
Yes.
You sent me a whole, like, diatribe about it. I didn't read any of it. What's going on?
No. I'm doing the same game as you did, because I was planning to do this last week, but then you had already decided to do basically the same game, and I figured, no, I'll just save it for next week now. But I'm going to flip the script. You gave me 3 player guesses and 1 clue to figure out who is the odd one out and why. I'm going to flip it. You get to ask 3 questions as your clue. So, for example, I asked, are they from the Nordic countries? You said no. So I could strike those off. You get 3 of those, and then you have to decide who is the odd one out and why. So I've given you a lineup of 10 players, which I think will appear on screen. And you have to figure out who is the odd one out and why, with 3 clues and then 1 guess. So go right ahead.
Right, so
and this is tricky. I'm very excited about this one, because you're either going to be very upset with me or you're going to be genuinely impressed.
All right, so these are the players I'm trying to decide between. So we have the only version of Maniac no one's afraid of, because he's got a stickman body. Freiburg, Mezzi, Device, Maja, Modi, Anarchez, Guardian, Regali, and Rain. Do you know what I genuinely thought for 1 second? Like, when you first sent me this, I went looking, and I was like, Rain famously does not get a lot of AWP kills. Maybe he's got so few AWP kills in his career that this is a significant stat, that these guys, of all these guys, he's the only one without an AWP kill. Now, to be fair, I didn't filter it by anything, so I'm going to check now if Rain has any AWP kills at the major, just out of curiosity.
Rain, very notably, Rain, I think at some point during the pandemic, there was a stat line I heard, which was that Rain has like 10 AWP kills in his entire career.
He has 3 AWP kills at majors.
It was a genuine news item when Rain got his 10th his 10th AWP kill in his career, and it was sometime in like the Rio Major or something.
Yeah, so I've got to find the odd man out in this, and I can ask you 3 questions to filter it down. Now, I don't have any real way of on screen showing you guys who I've crossed off, so you'll just have to follow along. Audio-only listeners, I've already told you the list. And so also, you can try and keep a mental, like, sort of track of what's going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
get pen and paper out.
Let's begin. Now, are you... Oh, hello?
Oh, hello.
My OBS disconnected and reconnected. I got a notification. So, okay, we're good.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, we're back. I'm seeing it on stream. And I can still hear you. It's fine.
Right. All right, this player. Would you leave them alone in a room with your partner at an after party?
At an after party. I think yes, to be honest, yeah.
Yes, okay, we're eliminating definitely the stick man. There we go. Done.
See, Maniac, I was surprised by this. He played for several notable teams. He just does not have a headshot like this. Yeah,
because it still predates the popularization of them.
But even then, like Get Right had one, Freiburg had one. All of them had them in like the old NIP lineups, but he never did. Played on Titan and NV and all of it. Just never had one.
Yeah, because it wasn't
so I had to draw one.
that popular.
Yeah.
So that was just for the lols, really. I just eliminated one guy just to make sure.
That's your first.
I don't know that
gone.
much about your opinion about these people. Because
no, but I could go on vibes.
I'm happy to make gross generalizations, but yeah. Let's see. Is this would you describe this person as just a winner?
I honestly would. Yeah.
You would. Okay, so goodbye Anarkez and Modi and Regali and Maja. You're all gone. You're just all gone. You're in the corner with Maniac. I'm left with Freiburg, Mezzi, Device, Rain, and Guardian. Now, would I be uncomfortable leaving anyone with my partner? Let me see. Well, I think here's the thing: Device is genuinely good looking.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you ask that question, it could also be that I'm uncomfortable
because they're so hot.
They're gonna steal my partner. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is, that's a nerve-wracking thing. He'll probably get a stomach ache and have to leave. So I'm not too worried actually. I think about Device. Let me see.
I'm very comfortable with this person. Yes.
In
that sense.
Do you think this person?
This is your final clue. Yes.
Would kind of be like semi-mates, you know what I mean? Like kind of friends, kind of just them really well with their barber. Like, is that an important person to them?
Oh God. Okay. I'm just looking them over if I think.
Think about them in their careers, how they've always looked. Like,
I think they honestly would. Like, I don't think they find going to the barber a chore. I think they think it's a bit fun. They get to talk to somebody who they think is pretty nice, and they're generally happy with the outcome. Yeah, it's not like, oh, I have to get a haircut. They go get a haircut.
All right, I know who my guess is now, because
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I'm right, and then I'll tell you my logic afterwards. Okay, my guess is you pick as the odd man out for whatever reason. It's probably something to do with I don't even know what it's gonna be about. I'm gonna guess it's Mezzi.
You are correct. Mezzi is the odd one out.
Yes, bud.
Yeah, look, okay, when I'm looking at all four of these, I feel like Guardian, Freiburg, Rain, and Device, they go to the haircut to make their hair shorter. Mezzi goes because he
likes to change his hair up. He's got
a bit of swag on him.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who, if CS was big enough, he'd have a barber that comes with him to events. Like the barber gets a weekend holiday just to cut his hair before the semis,
Yeah. And he is undoubtedly a winner as of last year.
Yes, but also the way you said winner made me feel like just a winner, though. Like, not necessarily a star player. The way you said it, I was like, I'm avoiding this. OBS is telling me it's disconnected again and reconnected again. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this isn't causing any big issues on the audio side.
There was a little bit of a time skip on the stream I can see, but that's about it. Yep, anyway.
Yeah, that's worrying. But yeah, obviously, in terms of winners, the guys who don't win a lot of events could easily get rid of. The first question was just to get rid of Maniac for shits and giggles. And then when I looked at the final group, I was like, I feel like it's Mezzi just because of your tone. I'm going to try and isolate Mezzi.
Mezzi also just seems super chill. Like, I would be, I feel like he could carry a conversation. with
okay.
pretty much anybody.
The real question is then, what makes him the odd man out? Like, what was it? Can I try and figure it out, actually? Is it to do with the AWP? No.
That's what you have to figure out. I think you might be able to figure this one out if you think hard enough about who is here. There's at least one player who I think you know this detail about them. But I'm not sure you're gonna know it for everybody. But then in that case, I'll have to explain it. Yeah.
Let me have a think. So my mind is going, he's the only one to have not played with a certain nationality or to have only played within a certain continent. So I'm trying to think, when Messi was on Endpoint, did he play with anyone outside of Europe? Like anyone from outside of Europe? Like, I don't think he did.
Well, it depends on where you draw the line.
Where do you play with in Cloud9?
Depends on where you draw the line, because he does play with Flamesy, and he did on Endpoint as well, I think, and Boros.
Yeah, but I don't know where you draw the line on that, because I would consider Israel Europe typically, but they kind of get grandfathered in / allowed in, because otherwise they would get very left out. So like just for
assuming I'm not misremembering.
No, he played with Americans. Never mind.
And assuming I'm not misremembering, would you draw the line at Jordan, like Boros?
No, Jordan's not Europe.
I don't know if he did play with Boros. I just think he did.
I don't think he did. Yeah. But, maybe he's the only guy to have. Because he's played with French people. We know that for sure.
There was Major.
All right.
And Maniac.
I don't know. Maybe he's the only one to have never. No, I don't know. This isn't my forte. I got the answer right. I don't need to know this. Tell me what's up.
So let me ask you, Major, what languages does he speak?
Oh, he's the only one who doesn't speak more than one language.
Yes.
Well, the only one
in
doesn't
fact,
speak
I think
potentially 3, but yeah, it might be the case.
He is the only one who is notably, or at least expected to notably be trilingular. How do you say it? Trilingular? Yes. Trilingual. Yes, thank you. Trilingular. Trilingular. Fuck. All of the others quite notably speak at least 3 languages. Yes. That is the answer.
Yeah, okay.
So, let me go through. Maniac, he is from Switzerland. He does, according to his Wikipedia article, speak German, French, and English. Freiburg, we know he speaks Swedish and English. He said himself anyway that he's learned Danish when he played on Heroic. That's literally, he said it out loud. It's disputed. Fiflern said he only thinks he speaks Danish, but it's
Swede saying I speak Danish and then like clowning on the English for not speaking another language is funny, but yeah.
Yep. Device, notably fluent in Swedish. That's why he played on NIP. Major, as far as I know, he lives in France. He's played on French teams, and while I'm not sure he's played on an English-speaking team, he does interviews and he's fine. He speaks English.
I'm pretty sure he's got French nationality at this point.
Yeah, I think that's true. Modi is quite notably half Danish. A lot of his career is spent in Danish teams, speaking Danish. He is half Danish by nationality and Swedish. And at this point, like he's Swedish, I assume he possesses the English language as well. Anarches, English-speaking, has played on a lot of English-speaking teams. Russian-speaking, he has played on a lot of Russian-speaking teams, and he's also played with fully Israeli teams. Which, while I haven't been able to verify if they did speak Hebrew, I can only assume so. Like when you're playing with 4 other Israeli players. Guardian, obviously, is Slovakian, has played on English-speaking teams, also speaks Russian. Like he's played on Navi for a large part of his career. And he does actually like have a decent understanding of Swedish and Norwegian as well, which is very impressive. I think his partner is Norwegian. Regeli obviously has lived in Denmark for better part of a decade. He is also Romanian. Again, this is something I couldn't verify, but he has played on Romanian teams, so I would assume that they spoke Romanian. And English, of course. He just played on FlyQuest. And Rain as well also speaks Swedish. This is maybe the least notable out of all of them, because I only mostly know this because we have done a lot of interviews in Swedish, in fluent Swedish with Rain. So English, Norwegian, Swedish. Mezi, as far as I know, speaks only English. I made it trilingual. because I don't know if he took Spanish in school or something. But like
English,
it's,
Spanish, English, Swedish, Norwegian feels a bit like I speak London, Brummie, and fucking Geordie. Fuck off. Norwegian,
No,
Swedish,
look, okay.
different languages. All right, calm down. You're just adding
You
fucking checks to
know-
your resume. Like, oh yes, we're trilingual,
No.
quadrilingual. Yes.
You know we've played 10 months with Norwegian people, and you know I've tried speaking speaking Swedish to them. It is genuinely hard to carry. To like, you think it works until you lose a round because you didn't understand what the fuck they were saying. It's so yeah, it's I know it also depends on where from Norway you are.
I've played with Geordies. Sometimes you just understand what they're saying. They're technically speaking English as well. Y'all are not any different in my eyes. I still refuse to consider them distinct languages.
Fair. But you know, this is like, notably, do we know they speak different languages? And the answer is yes, they do. So, yeah, and we've also had it verified from Ted that Regeli speaks Romanian and Anarchist speaks 3 languages. So that's why I was like, this might be one of those things where you are incredibly upset with me, because how could you possibly have known this? Or you would have been impressed that I know this random piece.
No, I would have known that. Obviously, if you're counting the 3 Scandi languages distinctly, yeah, all these guys are trilingual.
But only 2 of them are similar.
I speak French, and I also speak Swiss, and I speak the language of Luxembourg. You know, I'm such a multi-hyphenate when it comes to my language abilities. But, you know, I also speak Canadian, 2 versions of it. And I speak it better than they do. So, yeah, pretty decent game, honestly. I'm just happy that I got the right answer more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm happy you got there the way you did, because I would have been so upset if you just went, have they won a major? And then, yeah, they have. Like, that would have been boring. You took a fun route. Yeah, and I like that.
But yeah, that's a decent one. I respect it. I'm not too bothered about the esoteric nature of the odd man out. That doesn't really matter considering the point of it. So I'm like, that part of it doesn't matter if I can't figure out why they're the odd man out. As long as I got the man, that's what matters. You know, it's like, yeah. Let's get into the Eternal Shuffle, because there's still some dregs, some final moves being made, some little things coming in here and there. Quack, give me some moves. I will grade them if possible.
Yes. So first off, Bait have confirmed the Headtrick replacement. We actually didn't know if Headtrick was leaving, because they just said we are looking for options and we might replace him, which was a fun way to find out. They have promoted somebody who I think was playing on his on Bait's academy team, with 0 HLTV maps recorded. His first one is going to be in IEM Krakow. His name is Segukawa. He is 16 years old, and he has literally never been mentioned anywhere. He is less notable than that one Ukrainian 14-year-old everybody named as their honorable mention in this year's top 20 list, Rose.
Yeah, the Rose kid.
So yeah, debuting in Krakow in what, like a week or 2, and he's supposed to be like, I saw somebody look up his Faceit games, and they said like, no, he didn't play the op at all in his Faceit games, and Bait
I saw that
Academy
in my
have
chat.
like 0.
Like, oh.
Yeah, and like Bait Academy have 0 recorded officials. This is super weird, but I guess it's a gamble. We said earlier in the show you should take a gamble, but this is maybe a bit extreme.
It's a bit extreme, but it's honestly within the sort of like reasonable lines I draw for a team. Is your academy AWPer? Your AWPer's been dog water. Yeah, take a risk on your academy kid. Now, I'm just going to say something that gets overlooked sometimes, because we're exposed to Americans and Brits and even some like Scandis in terms of the English-speaking realm, and weebs are a big thing that we kind of look at and laugh at. The Russian and the French just casually get to slide through, unroasted, for the amount of weebs I see, just coming to, like, accidentally just coming out of the closet, as it were. Like, why are there so many weebs in these parts of the world? Like, it is a bit strange to me. I just can't help but notice it the more I see it, the more mouse pads I see, the more silly haircuts, the more weird names that make no sense to me. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, oh, these guys are massive weebs. Why?
No idea.
Good. Anyway,
maybe
back
that's
to
not where the name comes from. Yeah, it's but I assume it is.
Come on.
It's at the level where even Bait didn't have like a headshot for him to use in the graphic. He's just a red silhouette in their graphic. It's I genuinely think the silhouette as well is literally one of their other players just blanked out.
It might be.
So yeah.
But yeah, Shale, they border every country. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to achieve. But more importantly, Counter-Strike wise, yeah, this is. I'll give them a B plus. Like I can't give you an A because I don't know a damn thing about the kid, but you did what needs to be done. And if this goes terribly, so what? So what?
So
what have you lost?
What?
You went from a 0.95 rated AWPer to a 0.95 rated AWPer, but who's younger and could turn into something. It's not the end of the world.
It's not bad. No, it's not bad. Right. That's maybe the headline move, because now we're moving into the really tier 2 ones, the really retake the week moves.
Yes.
Jame Gladiators have cut Shuzhe and Busede, and they've added Henny and Lucan to make the oldest South American team in history.
Oh, Jesus. 29.3 average roster age.
Yes. This would have been very exciting 6 years ago. Like, tell me, you're going into 2019 with Henny, Phelps, Nekis, Lucan, and Jota. This is a team that would be very exciting, but now it is just old. No, okay, they have one event lined up, which is a little bit notable. It is ESL Pro League and a bunch of the Brazilian lands trying to make a push for the major. I did say before where MABR are in comparison right now. The Gaming Gladiators currently are lower ranked than their old lineup, but they have 900 points. They need to make up about 350 VRS points to make it into major range before early April. Can they do this with Henny and Lucan?
I think they've got a better chance of doing it.
Right.
After the removal of shuz and bzd. That's a pretty pretty decent upgrade, I'd say, especially the Lucan front. Like, I like Lucan. I think he can farm at this level. But they played already. They debuted at the BetBoom event we talked about earlier. We didn't talk about them specifically very much because they beat Game Hunters and lost 2-0 to Imperial MIBR. So they didn't have a great time of it.
Actually, yeah. Hang on. Is that lineup ranked? It should be. Because that's not the ranking that's not the lineup I was talking about. Oh wait, no, they need to play 5 games. I forgot. Sorry. Yeah, their actual ranking right now is 108th in the world or 21 in America. They have a lot of space to make up.
But they do, especially if they're going to lose VRS points and get kind of wrecked in these sorts of events. They're going to need a lot to turn in their favor. But I don't hate the move. I just don't think they're going to be good enough to overcome this sort of deficit. But hey, it's not impossible. I'll give them a flat B for the move because you only got better, but I don't think it's quite enough for what you're trying to do.
Nope. Also in South America, 9Z have taken back DGT in a move akin to Zweih returning to tier 2. This might be where DGT can once again flourish back where he belongs in 9Z. So yeah, they have a fully Spanish-speaking lineup now. It's Max, Huaso Peak, Luchov, Mayern, and DGT. He's already played 3 maps with a 176 rating.
Yeah, no, great start, isn't it? Complete opposite. I don't know. 9Z, look, he's played 3 maps. He played Alzon and Galoris. Let's be realistic.
It's a Rio qualifier, but they did make it through the open qualifier to the close qualifier of IEM Rio.
Yeah, but look, they were supposed to get better, right? After the Levi and Urbano benching, and now they lost Lucan, and we talked about that. But DGT coming back, he's basically home. After some time out in the cold on pain, 6 years he was officially on 9Z before that. So I like it for him. I like it for the team. Hopefully, we can get some more Spanish-speaking teams up at the top.
Would be cool. That's about it for that move. Also, somebody who is known for belonging to a certain home, Nexus. The end of an era, and it's almost anticlimactic because he's not even retiring or anything. He's just taking a break. BTN is on the bench of Nexus after almost 10 years of service. He is finally taking a break, and he's supposedly coming back.
This guy's got no quit in him, and I love that. I don't know.
I love that.
What reality awaits for him beyond CS, but he is not interested in being there full time.
No.
God damn.
No.
God, his stats are so bad.
3,475 days, which is the second longest in a single organization after reign on FaZe.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Look,
pretty incredible.
He had an insane run on Nexus. It's a weird thing where it's like, it's not like he's some legend of the top end of the scene, but he's like kind of a legend of just like this roster, this org, this region, just in terms of presence. Like, he's the doorman who's never done anything particularly magical, but he's just always there. There's like a comforting sight.
Yeah.
Like, I know Nexus has BTN. And usually, for a long time, Raga alongside him, also killing nobody. Yeah, he's going to be missed, I think, in a small, sort of sweet kind of way. But he's not exactly going to be downgrading this team by leaving it. Is the unfortunate reality. If he does come back, hopefully he does come back eventually as coach or something like that, because, you know, it just seems wrong to have him not on Nexus. So, yeah, see how that goes.
They said he's coming back, so I assume that means he's coming back. But yeah, it probably will be in a coach capacity. Rumored as well with that is that his replacement will be FNK from G2 Ares, which means that FNL and FNK will both be on the same team.
Hey.
And all they need now is to sign FNX and FNS, and then come up with a fifth player also named FN something. And
yeah, not my
perfect.
priority. But look, Nexus are slowly approaching the reality of that I hoped for them, which is one day they will only have Romanian players who have a right hand and can actually use a mouse to click on people. Because look, Zello, Sound Blitz, I mean, there's technically better Romanian-speaking players, like somewhere, like there's a couple, but that's pretty damn good. FNL was a decent prospect for a long time on, it's Heroic and Monty Gen, right? Oh, he's also on Navi Junior, yeah. And Nexus Academy, if you go back far enough. So
bloody everywhere.
Yeah, these tiny little players. It'd be curious to see if they can be like a solid tier 2 mainstay as a team that's all Romanian, but also without BTN and Raga, without the kind of leadership core who kind of held them back in terms of the fragging for a long time.
Until he comes back, yeah. Until he comes back. And that's another 3,475 days, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Red Canids have added Davideus. Again, people are just returning to their roots in South America. Red Canids have added back Davideus after being cut from Pain. Which means that they now have a lineup of Drop, Che Jesus, Kawes, History, and Davideus.
Yeah, so he's
also played in the Rio qualifier, yeah. Yeah,
so he's here basically replacing Venom Zero. When he left this team, it was a while ago now. I always forget how long he was in this.
He was only there for about 3-4 months in 2020 even.
I mean, David was a long time ago. Was on Red Canids in 2024, but whatever.
Sorry. Yeah, I read them wrong. He was there twice because he was there in 2020 and then he was there for a long time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm obviously referring to the 2024 stint. You know, when he leaves, he kind of gets replaced by Phelps-ish in terms of his roles, I guess. But now he's back, taking some Venom Zero spots, maybe taking some of his old spots, seeing as the team has kind of rejigged a lot. It'll probably be a good place for him to get some numbers up, you know? Not necessarily win everything, but yeah, he'll put up some stats. Yeah. He'll have some fun.
Exactly. Nemesis. Gun 5 disbanded the other week. And Nemesis have picked up at least a couple of the players. I don't know if it's a full lineup. I can't remember it. But it is a Russian-speaking lineup consisting of Selter, Magic Key, Texi, Sedaim, and Yixrezo, which is the full Gun 5 lineup. So they're carrying on.
Cool, they got an org. I like it. I mean, I'm a Texi fan. I think Sedaim's shown some decent stuff. Not that big on most of the roster overall, but they're going to be all right. They're going to play a lot of events. Hopefully Texi keeps developing, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think when I'm looking at this lineup, I feel like you sign the team for Texi and Sedaim. Selter is probably just going to do a fine job forever. He's a little bit of a Travis in that sense. It's like, he'll do a job which is good enough most of the time. And then Magic Key and Yixrezu are just like, if it's not them, it's going to be some other Russian teenager. They're always replaceable. So, yeah, good job. FlyQuest Red, after 8 years with what is effectively the Red team, previously CLG, now FlyQuest, have replaced Goosebreeder with Fox. I could have sworn that this was... Oh no, it was only reported, it wasn't announced. But they are going to replace her with Fox, previously of Sakura and Shimmer. So, yeah. Goosebreeder has left the team. She's supposedly doing it because she's moving to Europe.
Okay. Look, Fox has put up some numbies, right, on that
Fox
other lineup.
has been very good. Arguably the better player on that Shimmer lineup, next to Empathy.
Yeah. Why not? FlyQuest Red. Now, what are they called again? They've changed to something else.
FlyQuest Red. Oh, you mean Shimmer?
No, FlyQuest Red. They changed name? I thought they changed name.
No, they're just FlyQuest Red. They used to be CLG Red, but now they're for a while.
No, but that change happened a while ago. Yeah, no, it's an upgrade in some ways. It's gonna be weird because Gooseberry is kind of like an important figure to that team as far as leadership, as far as presence. Yeah. But no, I think they won't be complaining off the back of this. They'll probably be happy to walk away with. Yeah. Eventually, they'll be happy, friends and all that, blah blah blah. But the firepower upgrade will probably help them to be more relevant in the big international portions of female play.
Very stacked lineup talent-wise. And yeah, Fox, her spot on Sakura is filled by Alice Roar, previously of Lotus, I think they're called. I don't know anything about her, but just noted as happening. Fingers crossed have added to their female lineup. A very interesting. This is genuinely interested me. D7 and Xia are back.
Right.
Or Xia. Together with Margot, Vispel, and Irbitka. So this is a weird. It used to be a Russian-speaking lineup, but they replaced Emo Core and Sosia, and they've also added Dementor as a coach. Genuinely interesting because D7 and Xia I think are very underrated. They're very skilled players. Unfortunately, there's no Impact League to play in, but there is the JB Pro League, whatever the hell, going on. So pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool team.
Yeah, it's something. It's a weird mix, right, of players in terms of what they used to be and what the players they've added. Like, it's just an odd sort of situation, but I don't hate it. I think, yes, you're right. Xia and D7 have been two of the better female players for a long time, and I mean, this can only help them in terms of the core. Because that, fingers crossed, they used to be overpeaked from what I just checked. They didn't make many LAN finals. They weren't that impactful most of the time. This will probably raise their floor. They'll probably have some better chances in the big events to come. So yeah, not a bad move.
I can actually tell you this wasn't HLTV covered. It was the open, but the first out of 4 open qualifiers for this JB Pro League, which is the Impact replacement, has been played. Pigeons and Big Equipa were the ones who made it through. Actually, interesting. Mia and Sosia played with Big Equipa, so that's interesting. Pigeons obviously being Imperial previously, Valkyries. This fingers crossed lineup almost made it. They were in that final game, but lost to Big Equipa. So honestly, yeah, losing in overtime against Big Equipa, not that bad, to be honest. Good job. TDK is a new team that exists, and it has the following players: Axile, Sorty, Sugar, Xanter, Nafany, and Groove is the coach. Welcome back, Gambit. But worse.
Gambit.
Look.
Yeah, it's a team. I think.
Yep.
Sugar's a bit of a weird one, but generally, look, it's a place for Axel and Zorti to play, get some reps in. Xanter, he kind of fell out of favor over the course of the Namiga sort of stint. Look, it might be a good place for these players to regroup, reboot. Axel, Xanter, I think still could play in pretty decent level teams. Nafany, I haven't seen him play in a while. Not really sure what he's looking like right now, but I don't mind this combination of players.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
I can tell you they do have a VRS rank. It's quite bad. It's 154 in the world, but they, because of 9 Boom Pro, where Zorti, Axel, and Sugar played, so they do keep that. Whatever events VP Prodigy, NS Academy, these kind of teams, whatever events they end up playing, this team will also be invited to. So
Quack.
They might.
Is the last move on this list a joke?
No, this is true. Steel is playing again. And it's not the Brazilian Steel. Josh
the
Nissen.
North American
Josh
Steel
Nissen.
Is playing for
yes.
Sportsbet Expert.
With Freshie, Trojan, OG Wizard, and SML. This is true. This is happening. He returns to competition is the headline Note wrote 17 hours ago.
On the team, Sportsbet Expert.
Joshua Steele Nissen has signed for Sportsbet Expert, marking his return to activity after a year away from competition. The Canadian in-game leader last recorded officials on HLTV when he stood in for Marsborn in ESL Challenger League Season 49 to help the team retain its VRS score, and comes after he stepped back from competition to focus on broadcast work in 2025.
I'm sorry.
They also signed Portuguese rifler SML.
Firstly, terrible name for an org. Sportsbet Expert. Secondly,
yes, this is the... Yeah.
To sign Steel.
This is the team that formed by signing Rec was here. So it was basically these four, or this five, except they had Evan and Rec instead of SML and Steel. And then Rec obviously got signed by Wildcard recently, and Evan just fucked off. I don't know who the hell he is, but he was here. And yeah, Steel is here. He's playing again. Do you see him taking this?
Let's hope they win every game, because otherwise the jokes are going to be too easy.
Look, he's unbanned. He can play majors again, you know?
Surely they can't compete under this name as well. Like, what the fuck is Sportsbet Expert?
It's a team. They signed a team.
Google Sportsbet. TheSportsBetExpert.com. Here it is. It's a consulting.
Can I guess? Hang on. Is it a gambling website?
It's a sports consulting firm that combines algorithms, analytics, and human thinking to individuals. What? I'm going to read this word for word. You tell me if this is Englanding very good to you. Sportsbet Expert is a sports consulting firm that combines algorithms, analytics, and human thinking to individuals looking for an edge to profit betting on sports. Our number one goal is to teach clients proper betting habits to be responsible bettors. A motto of ours is patience provides profitability. There is some Englando in here that is pissing me off.
Wow, so I was actually wrong. It isn't a gambling site.
It's not a gambling site, so they can use this name and everything.
Wow. All right, yeah, no. So Steele is here. He's 36 years old. Going to be 30. Recently turned 36 years old as well. So he's still young. He's in the best years of his career. He thinks anyway. Or Sportsbet Expert think anyway. No, okay. Look, okay.
Combines algorithms,
do you think
and human thinking to individuals? What?
Do you think Steele? Let me ask you this: do you think Steele is a certified genius?
No.
Do you think he is a good in-game leader?
I think he used to be.
Okay.
I have no reason to believe anything about him right now, but yeah.
Okay, fair. OG Wizard, what do you know about him, except for the fact that he has a high rating?
He's a high rating and he's got a Ukrainian flag.
Yes. Do you think he will become the next NA GOAT under Steele?
No.
Under his leadership? Under his guidance?
No.
Wise guidance. Okay. Somehow, even with Steele, this team is only 24.6 years old on average. So that's nice for them.
Okay.
We're moving on. That's the end of the Eternal Shuffle. Steele is back.
That's so weird. Okay. By the way, if Sportsbet Expert, you need someone writing copy for you, hit me up. I will do better than whatever AI or random Russian wrote that thing, because what the fuck does that even mean? How do you combine things to a person? Like, how does that work?
If you do, also hit me up, because I'll do it for 20% less.
They don't even know my going rate.
No, whatever it is.
And again, not English. He will fuck it up.
We have a slight... Can I just add this slight shuffle, because this just happened? Zonic also won't be in Malta with Falcons, so they're missing both Kyosuke and their coach. So maybe my thing about no upsets is incorrect at this point.
Well, I mean, we said that already, because you can't predict the future. But yeah, let's get into the final segment of the show, Prospects of the Week. We'll close this all out with our usual nonsense. I've picked, quite simply, Jabone, J-Bone, Big J-Boner. We're all J-Boners around here. He has put up a decent performance with Big Academy. Grixon Big's main team also played really well, but I was like, you know what? Jabone's got the better rating for the week. We'll let him have it this time. They played United League, they played a Rio qualifier, they played a few maps this week, and he ended up dropping a 129. Played, his usual way, pretty classically assertive, combative, successful. Took a lot of openers. Like even on the T side, he's taking near 20% openers. CT side 32%. Likes to assert as well with the AWP. 0.84 KPR, just good numbers all around for a team that isn't star-studded currently, isn't quite loaded up. But yeah, across 8 maps, pretty good week.
Yeah, solid. It was all online, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's cool. We've had a bunch of Lance episodes, I just wasn't sure. And Big won one of them, so.
Big Academy, though, didn't play any of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, still cool. Very nice. I've gone for Jokab. I think, to be honest, the event I had a little bit of an eye on this weekend was Player Masters Malmö, which was a VRS ranked LAN held in Malmö, Sweden, where we actually had some interesting teams. It was several Danish teams, obviously. It's very close to Denmark. All of them played very well. So for that, just a small shout out to Nicky B. He actually had a great event. It's only his second ever LAN with Tricked, and he played really good. They ended up winning the event, and he was the big guy. But I've gone for Jokab. I think the way Jokab has turned out as a signing for Johnny Speeds, like, these games were not perfect for them. They lost a couple of games they definitely shouldn't have lost, like AIM Club, talking about Romanian teams earlier.
Yeah.
The better players you are talking about do not exist in AIM Club, but we still lost that game 9-13. But the way Jokab shook out in this event and the way these playoffs went, beating Sashi, and this is an event that I think Johnny Speeds should have won. But even if they didn't, Jokab, he's measured against Svedjehed, Lekail, and Rolf, and so far he's greatly outperforming all three of them on this Johnny Speeds side. And to do that on LAN, to do this, finally leaving the NIP bubble and playing, some real competition, because Young Ninjas were barely even playing HLTV games half the time. It's really solid, and he's played really well. Next to Draken, he is Johnny Speed's best player in this event. Very good performance, and I just like the way that his signing has really turned out in that way, and it's how it's improved the team to a degree that I think they can end up being very good with him and with Freiburg as the coach. I think it's going to be interesting. So Jokab, hats off to you. Let's see you finally help make Sweden great by being part of one of the Swedish teams.
Yeah, no, he's worked out nicely so far. Pretty decent performance for the Player Master. I mean, losing to Tricked in the grand final, you probably, you'd like to have won that if you're Johnny Speeds.
Yeah, but it's pretty close. It's I'd say that these are both teams who are 60 to 70 in the world, so it's fair.
I think that's generous to Tricked, to be clear. I don't really have that kind of rating on them right now. But look, Jokab had a good run to get them there. State were upsetting people a little bit, like they were playing far beyond expectations. And yeah, sure, some hiccups against AIM Club, for example, aside, he played quite well. 9 straight 1+ rating maps as well. Just a little bit of consistency thrown in there. He's not supposed to be the big flashy piece of this roster. We'll take it. Jokab, yeah, so far so good since leaving the Young Ninjas bubble. But all right.
Keep it up.
That's going to be our show. Thank you for tuning in live. If you're watching this in post or, listening to this on audio only and you made it this far, you're a legend. Let us know in the comments where you're listening to or what you're doing whilst you listen to this show. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.